Folks, we're back. PokeNE is in the house. It is a special day today. What more can I say, guys? If you have been following the channel for any time at all, I do want to go ahead and share the screen. If you guys don't know, all the way back. Oh, hold on. I got to turn this on mute real quick. All the way back 10 months ago, I had PokeNE on the channel. And a lot of people viewed it. It had almost 4,000 views. But it's really cool to have him back on because he's had all kinds of growth and all kinds of new stuff come up. His YouTube channel is absolutely blown up. And so I wanted to have him back on to kind of get a little more perspective on, how all that growth happened and perspective on the market. So, Brian, take it away, man. What's going on?
Yeah, super stoked to be here again. 10 months is a long time. So lots changed, of course, and a lot's still the same. You know how it is. But things have been good. Business is slowing down a bit. Q4 was quite a bit better than Q1 this year, but with the holiday season, and now it's like the most depressing time of the year. So, like, what are you going to do? But, as a lot of you have seen, the Japanese market, it's a little bit sketch right now, depending on your scenario. So, a lot of people, including my clickbaity-ass thumbnails, are like, oh, Japan's dead. And to me, Japan is only dead if you were over-leveraged and stuff and you're more short-sighted. Like, this channel's all about investing. So, if you're investing in this stuff, you shouldn't care because it's going to go back up, most likely.
Yeah, I saw Rattle didn't like your thumbnails too much.
Yeah, okay, hold up. So, we're talking about a dude who can take any subject, rant about it, and ramble on for like 47 minutes, make 20 videos on it, saying the same crap over and over again, and then put just as shit thumbnails up, which is fine. That's how the game works. But then, my thumbnail that he rips on, literally, you're not going to get this from any other business. It literally says, this video is an ad. Like, I couldn't be more clear that I'm trying to make money in that video, and I'm trying to clickbait you. I wasn't even trying to be low key. I don't know. The guy's probably a good guy overall, but like that video just baffled me.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy. I haven't had any direct run-ins with Rattle, but I obviously because of some of the friends I have or some of the things that have happened, I don't know how. I'm sure he doesn't think the highest level of me, but it is wild. Like, it's kind of. I don't know, the whole, like, obviously I got the Cabal shirt on, right? Like, it's kind of where that whole thing started. It's kind of like, it's okay, like, to do certain things in this hobby, but it's, like, only for certain people. And then if other people do those things or other people do other things, it's, like, not okay. And it's just really weird how, like, these sides have been formed and we've deemed some things good and some things bad, right?
Well, a really good example of that is, like, Cool Trainer Ryan, who seems like an awesome guy, by the way. But, like, his whole shtick was, at least for a while, he would like open booster boxes and like throw the cards like frisbees. Like that was his whole thing, right? Yeah. Which is entertaining. Like no hate on that. And so, but his like BFFs in the industry, they'll go absolutely batshit crazy if you rip a card or decorate a card or maybe tear it up for an art project. They'll be like, oh, you're destroying the art. But then they'll be like, oh, Cool Trainer Ryan's the GOAT. And he's literally throwing these things like frisbees. And that's not a critique on Cool Trainer Ryan. It's a critique on the people who are like, they pick and choose. And I don't know. It's bananas to me. But at this point, I just laugh at it because usually it gets me clicks anyway.
It sucks because I always liked Cool Trainer Ryan. Like, obviously he plays up his whole shtick for his videos. But like, anytime he's been on like podcasts or stuff, he's super real. He tells it like it is, even like to his friends. Like even if he thinks they're wrong, like tells it how it is. And then he had to make that little short video, like shitting on me a little bit. And I'm just like, come on, man, really? But, I don't care. It's just, it is funny though, how like, it's like, it's a certain groups. It's like, you could literally do the same exact thing as someone else does, but like, they're okay doing it and you do it. Like if you make that thumbnail, it's no good. But then if someone like in the different group made that thumbnail, it's, oh yeah, well, they're just trying to, grow their channel.
Right. And again, that's not a critique on any of the people doing it. Like, no. I've never had a beef with Cool Trainer, right? I don't really know him at all. A lot of his stuff reminds me of me because he seems pretty based, but I have nothing bad to say about him or really anyone else. it's the people that pick and choose, like you said, and I'm just like, you know how silly you sound, because you sound pretty silly.
Hold
And
on. So speaking, this is a good segue. Speaking of picking and choosing, dude, we gotta talk about it. So the whatnot thing. I know you're against the whatnot thing, and people were giving me all kinds of crap in my Discord about it, and like Alex, even PokeNE was down on it. Like, are you disagreeing with him and all this stuff? I'm just like, look, man, everyone's at different like stages in their business and looking for different things. Like, and it's like everyone's always trying to pit everyone against each other when you like have disagreements. And it's just like my answer to anyone always is, do you agree with everything? Like you and your friends like think? Like, do you and your wife agree on everything? Do you and anyone in your life agree on everything? Like, it's okay to think or do different things, and you can all still be friends and be happy. It's cool. So like, everyone, I don't know if you got any of that, but like everyone was like almost like trying to pit me and you against each other because I started doing some whatnot and you came out against whatnot. Did you get any of that?
well, so I agree with what you're saying. If your BFFs and your wife and your freaking dog, if you guys don't have something you violently disagree with, you ain't talking to them enough. Like, you got to work on your freaking marriage and your friendship, because like I got friends from when I was in 8th grade. I'm 30 now. I'm old, and like we have completely different political beliefs and religious beliefs and all that, and it's chill. So that point I agree with. As far as the whatnot thing, what did I say that I was directly against it? Like, I don't.
I watched the video. Like I said, I don't know. I watched the one video where you were just saying like how you guys like reached out to them and they were offering you something.
Oh, that
On the dotted line, and all I came out and said was like, guys, I have no clue what he got offered, what other people got offered, what Twice Baked Jake or Unlisted Leaf. I don't know. I'm like, all I know is I didn't sign anything. They came to me and said, obviously you get the affiliate link, and we're going to help promote some of your streams. You're open to sell or do whatever you want on there. I wasn't getting like paid a salary. I wasn't getting told what to do. So like, I didn't sign anything, but like other people may have had different contracts. And so it's like, maybe that was some of the differences.
That was probably it, because a lot of people hate on whatnot because it's a scam, and while lots of people on there are scammers, that's the same with eBay. So like, I don't want to portray that. And I also think having your own website's better than whatnot. But
I actually made that point too about eBay. eBay. Yeah. So like, if you would go back to like the early days of eBay, oh my gosh, like if social media was around back then, eBay would have got trashed probably worse than whatnot. And people don't realize that. Like, a lot of companies have issues in the beginning trying to find their footing and the best practices and things.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think that argument's stupid. What I was dogging on whatnot's, like, I guess like partnership program, whatever, because not to toot my own horn, but they reached out to me and acted like they had some crazy offer. I don't expect anything from anyone. It was just like they kept emailing me and calling me, and eventually I had time to talk to them. And I explained, hey, I'm not really probably interested, but what do you have to say? And for all the hype that they had for like reaching out to me, I was like, they offered me this deal, and it wasn't even. I'm like, why would I go to your platform? You know what I do. You know how my numbers. Like, why would I go there for that deal? Freaking Network, who no one even knows what Network is. It's like the Kick of streaming. It's teeny tiny. Honestly, the app objectively sucks, but they're straight paying me thousands of dollars a month just to show my face on there, and I still left it, by the way. And then whatnot's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a commission that completely gets overturned by the fee they take. Like, they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll give you we'll give you a 20% commission if you move people to our app, but we're gonna take 20 or 10% of your sales anyway. So it evens out. And so if you don't have a website, it's probably a great deal. Like, for you or a lot of other streamers, whatnot's probably fantastic. But the way they hyped it up, I was just like, that's not a real deal.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing like I was looking for a place to where, because YouTube, it's different. Now, I've been able to build up a pretty good, like, people who like box breaks on the channel. But like for me, an investing channel, a lot of people are already looking for the best prices. There's not a lot of people that like open packs, things like that. So I was looking for another outlet where more people were customers, like there to buy things. Yeah. And just an easier platform in terms of like shipping, in terms of, payment processing and just the whole like auction setup. I liked it. And so I wanted to give it a try. And honestly, like I'm kind of shifting now. Like I thought it was great in the beginning when they were, helping pump things up. They were sending me numbers and they were helping promote the streams. But it's like after they turned off the juice, a lot of that went away. And now I'm finding it's like, well, they really want to push towards like singles and slabs. It's like that's no fun for me. Like I don't want to sit there and show singles and slabs on camera and have it bid. Like opening packs is fun. Like it's objectively just it's fun. It's exciting. Yeah. Like if you're not getting excited pulling some hits, like maybe it's the wrong hobby for you. But I genuinely like it. And it's just like the customers that I have on there, just they're not really a lot there for packs. Most people that come in my streams are asking for singles, they're asking for slabs. And I'm just like, well, maybe this isn't as good of a place I thought it was. So I'm kind of reverting back to YouTube right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the better play anyway for all the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because Whatnot definitely focuses on the cards and the slabs. And after they give you the boost, the juice as you called it, then they kind of forget about you and they play favorites. And I know a lot of behind the scenes stuff of kind of how Whatnot operates. And that's what they do. It's like freaking Walmart. They bring you in with some really low price, like kind of a loss leader, and then you get in there and then you get ripped off on everything else. Like Whatnot's like, hey, new guy, we're gonna take care of you. They put you on the home page, they put out a bunch of posts just to get you to depend on them and shout them out. And then once they kind of slut you out a little bit, then they throw you on the end of the page. They get someone new. It's all a marketing scheme. The only people making the money are the people on the homepage that are always on the homepage.
And then I'm very, very realistic about my size in the community. Mm-hmm. And when I see, like people like Mystic 7, I see people like Twice Baked Jake and everyone else they're getting, I immediately know, okay, I'm definitely going to be on the lower rung of this tier. That's where they're going to be pushing people. Like maybe if I'm somehow on when none of those people are on that night, maybe they help me a little bit. But it's like when I see all that, I'm just like, well, this just isn't doing as much good for me I thought it would. And so like I gave it a chance. Like, like I said from the beginning, a platform itself can't be evil, right? It's a right. Technology. Like the people running it could be evil. The people on there could be evil. Like, but like, I knew from the very beginning, like I can stream. It's kind of like I can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and feel no evil. Like I can stream here. I can sell here. I can do this. I can do that. It's like, I know I'm not scamming. I know I'm not resealing packs or trying to rip people off. So it's like, I think everyone that follows me and is going to buy from me knows that. And kind of the same thing with you that orders from your store and knows that. But I think it's just people have just a bad taste in their mouth from all the YouTube and social media content about it.
100%. Yeah, it's it's kind of mismanaged at times, but for the most part, a lot of the hate it receives is unjustified. If Whatnot deserves any hate, it's to me, and no one really talks about this. It's what I said. They pretend that they're on your side as what I'd call like a medium-high creator. 8,000 subs, that's pretty high in this space. So they're not actually trying to help you get sales, and they don't care if you get sales. They're using you to convert some people. They get the people, they forget about you, they throw the people to the big streamers, and then they collect their 12%. And it's just a machine. So if they're evil as a platform, that's the worst they do. And then the people in there, they decide.
Yeah, now anyone out there, if you are looking to like build your collection cheap, it's a great place. Go to the smaller streamers who don't have a lot of viewers and find them auctioning singles at $1 starts. You're probably going to find some good freaking deals because I know I've got crushed on some stuff I auctioned.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I did Whatnot for a little bit. I was actually one of the first, probably the first 10% of streamers on Whatnot. And a lot of people don't even know that, but there was several times where I'm like, oh God, I just gave that away. And it got scary. Because when you're new, you have to give good deals, but you have to wonder how long do I have to do this for? And will I be able to survive long enough to get relevant and make money?
And you gotta keep a straight face. You gotta keep staying fun and energetic and wow, I just took a bath on that, but let's go to the next one.
You do. And there's been so many viral videos, at least back in 21, 22, of people you've seen them, people just getting angry and throwing stuff because they sold an Eevee Heroes box for $100 and they got robbed. And they're like, I'm just going to cancel all my orders, F this platform. And I'm just like, well, yeah, you're done now. No one's going to buy from you now.
Well, let's jump into the market. I mean, so what Have you changed things up at all? Like since the Japanese markets been shifting a little bit. Like, are you shifting like more towards English now, or are you just kind of keeping the same type of like percentage of inventory on both? You're just because even though the prices are less, your margins are still good. Like, have you changed anything up, or are you kind of just straightforward the same way it always has been?
I've changed my behavior more than like my market share of different items. So behavior number one, right now I'm trying to protect capital as much as I can because I owe the IRS an ass load of money in a month, and also because my distributors, they need a bunch of money for like the temporal forces set. So I'm not going as hard in the paint on certain sets, especially English, because English sucks too from a business's perspective that's barely making money per box. So for the last several sets, if my analytics suggested I could sell like 400 booster boxes, I would buy 200 extra. I'd order 600 booster boxes with the knowledge that I'm going to hold 200, not as like a long-term investment, but just long enough to maybe get closer to MSRP. Well, now with the new Twilight Masquerade, which comes out in May, what I did is I put up pre-orders before anyone else did. I put up pre-orders about 3 days early, and I'm going to basically take as many pre-orders as I can, and then based on the pre-orders, I'm going to order based on those numbers instead of my arbitrary, oh, I'll just get 600 boxes, right? So if I pre-order sell 300 boxes, I'm only going to buy 400 now. Because at this point, having excess, it could be detrimental to like the longevity of my business, because like you do need cash in this. Now, once I pay the taxes and the Southern Hobby invoices, I'll probably go back to my old ways despite how the market is, because ultimately, I think me and you talked last time about taxes and how people thought I didn't understand the expenses of inventory. And so, as a quick tangent, if you're a business that does less than 26 million in revenue, you don't need to do accrual accounting. You can do cash-based accounting, which means any expenses generated, including inventory, is an expense that can lower your taxable income. Now, if you do accrual-based accounting, inventory, it's a whole nother beast. But for me, if I spend $10,000 on booster boxes at the end of the year, that's a $10,000 expense, and it lowers my taxable income for that year. Now, of course, the next year when I sell those, I pay taxes on those. All that to say, once taxes are paid and all my current debt is paid, then I'll go back to buying extra stuff, because optimally I buy so much extra inventory this year that my taxable income's a lot lower than it was for 2023. As far as the Japanese stuff goes, I've learned not to get too lost in the sauce, because like when Shiny Treasures got down where I could get it for like $40 a box, I bought $100,000 worth of them, because I'm like, oh, it won't go lower than that. Well, while I didn't lose money on that, I made money, it was all fine. If I would have waited until like last couple weeks, I could have got these suckers for like 37, which when you're buying 100 grand of something, $3 per box adds up.
Yeah.
So now I'm only buying like 80 boxes of anything at a time. When I sell half of that, then I talk to Japan. I go, yo, I need 80 more. Because at least for me, my suppliers can get me stuff in 1 or 2 days. So there's really no need to like stock up too much, because in 2 days I can just get more. So
What's up with that? Do they have like hubs here in the US, or how do they get there that fast?
they pay a lot of money in shipping. Like they
Gotcha.
pay for like basically overnight or close to it. And also with the time zone change, that helps a little bit as far as like, because I stay up all night and I order in the middle of the night, which for them is the middle of the day, which means they can pack the stuff up an hour after I order it. And so the inventory kind of time travels,
Right.
just because of how good they take care of me. A lot of folks that have Japanese suppliers, they get this illusion that it takes a long time for their item to ship from Japan, which isn't actually true. What's probably happening is you're just not a big enough deal to where Japan's like, oh yeah, we'll get to it. And then in 2 days they pack it, and then day 3 they bring it to the post office, and then it takes a few extra days than me because they bought the cheapest shipping. When you get to a high enough level, you place an order, they have that thing in a box within an hour, at the post office within 2 hours, and they pay for overnight shipping, and I get it in 2 days.
Yeah.
So there's no need to get lost in the sauce now, and I used to do that. So to answer your question, I order a lot less, and I'm really trying to protect my cash because I don't want to end up like clutch cards where where my liquidity is completely just decimated, and then I have to cancel orders, and then I end up on a possum bud, and then blah blah blah.
It
I don't
sounds like
want
a
that.
good business model. I mean, just take a whole bunch of cash and just say, "Hey, we're not going to ship them, but we're also not going to refund you." So,
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, God, infinite profits. Like that margin is literally infinity. Brilliant. But I
So,
do see how it happens.
as far as like, I know you touched on it for a second about like holding stuff a little longer until it kind of reaches a little higher, price point above MSRP or whatever. I mean, do you like technically? I mean, I know you don't really use the word invest, but like, as far as like holding inventory longer term for appreciation, like, do you put anything away like for any longer term, like for a matter of like years or anything? Like, if you see a set doing well.
Uh, not for the sake of investing. Like for me, like I said, since we're not accrual based accounting, we're cash based. Um, any inventory I buy, say this year, it would be an expense.
Right.
So why the hell would I like if I buy a case for like whatever $80 a box from my distro? Why the hell sell it at $95 if I already have this awesome expense to lower my taxable income and making $10 a box, it ain't jack anyway. Why do that? I might as well hold on to the box and I always have it for sale. I don't like keep anything off the site. To me, that's like more investing. I have everything that I have basically on the site. I just charge a little bit more. So like Lost Origin, for example. I think I'm sold out of it on the site actually, but the market price of Lost Origin was like, I don't know, $120, for example. Well, the MSRP, as you know, is like 160 now for English booster boxes. So instead of selling it for market price and instead of putting it in my basement as an investment, I just put it on my site for 160. And if it sells, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine.
Gotcha.
So for the most part, I don't like keep stuff to myself. There are a few things I do have. Like I have a sealed case of shiny Star V. I have a sealed case of a couple sealed cases of the V Star Universe, which aren't even hard to get anymore. I have I have a few things, but in my industry, it's like even if something triples in price in a year, which is extremely rare, if I would have just had that money, I could have quintupled it just by churning and burning inventory. So for businesses like me, investing in this stuff's stupid. But
Well,
for
I
people
so
that
I ask Eli because Eli's the same exact way. Pokemart USA. I
mm,
always ask him the same question because I'm always curious. So, do you are you basically putting all your money kind of reinvesting it back in the business, or are you investing anywhere? Like, are you investing in like the stock market? Are you like paying
mm,
down your house? Like, do you put money anywhere else, or does just all just go back in the business? And the kind of the goal is to grow the business to X amount and maybe eventually sell at X valuation, or eventually start putting money aside. Like, what's kind of your plan?
yeah, so I'm at the stage now where I really should be thinking about that harder. For the first like 3 years, it was pure. For the first like 2.5 years, it was pure make money, put it in inventory, rinse and repeat. Now I've got kind of enough capital and enough inventory where I really do need to be thinking harder about what you just said. So for example, I gave myself a big raise, so I pay myself now, which is different. And the money that PokeNE pays Brian, that's going to the house. So I'm trying to make extra payments on the house because my interest rate on this stupid house is like 6.4%, which yeah, the
Well, let me
stock
cut you
market
off. Let me
pays
cut you off right
more.
there. Were you just basically living on your wife's income before that?
More or less, yeah, because our old house was I'm in Nebraska for all the people curious on how cheap real estate is. Our old house was only 1,400 a month, and she's a teacher, which everyone's like, oh, teachers are poor. She makes enough to pay for a $1,400 house. We don't buy anything, we don't eat anything fancy, so yeah, for the most part, she
Because I was
covered
gonna say,
all
because
of our
I'm basically in the
bills.
same situation, so I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it's great. And so the only reason I'm paying myself now, besides the fact that I legally have to, because we're an S corp and blah blah blah, is because I told Andrea, my wife, I'm like, hey, I need more space. Instead of renting a building that I'm not going to build equity on, let's build a brand new house, pay an extra $1,000 a month. That's like the premium on my new house's mortgage, and just have the company pay me an extra $1,000 a month, and then we're even Steven. And so that's what we did. She still made the same amount of money. That all went towards the upstairs of the house. I paid myself $1,000 a month. That helped us pay for the downstairs of the house, and that was it. And I can put all the excess money just in like a mutual fund. I'm not fancy. I'm not buying crypto or nothing.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, and I know Poke Department Store. I think he's like an accountant, and I've had other accountants in my Discord tell me the same thing. I'm with you, man. I like the cash basis method. It's so much easier. It's less hectic. Like, I mean, I think it works better. There's a lot of people that they still use accrual for inventory. I mean, guys, obviously this is no tax advice. It's a whole consult tax advisor type thing, just us in entertainment. But I mean, basically, I mean, with the cash basis, end of the year, you got 100,000 profits. If you want to buy 80,000 in inventory, well, now you're looking at a $20,000 profit on your business. Whereas with accrual basis, if you buy 80,000 in inventory, you're still looking at a $100,000 profit.
And I see the argument for accrual, and I didn't before, but now that we're doing big numbers, I see it now, because in 2022, when I did taxes in 2023 for 2022, I did exactly what you said. I spent basically all my money on inventory, which was great for that year. So our taxable income was only like 60 grand, which was awesome. Well, this year, I took all that inventory I bought at the end of the year last year, and it's sold. Our sales have gone way up. So for 2023, my taxable income was like $500,000, and that hit me hard. I didn't like. I should have kept better track. I'm unorganized. I shouldn't even own a business. I'm a mess. But going from paying taxes on 60K to 500K, it's jarring. And it also feels very fake, because did I actually make 500K? No, not at all. But the last year, did I actually make 60? No, I made way more. So it's kind of like, if you pay your electric bill, you can choose to do like monthly based on how much you actually use in your electric bill. So in the summer, your air conditioner bill is going to be super high, but in the winter, your heating bill is going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, at least here in Omaha, you can opt to pay like a flat monthly cost. So it averages out your yearly spend on heating and electric and gas, and then you just pay the average, and that kind of helps with management. If you don't have good cash management and you're not organized like me, cash-based accounting, I see the argument against it. I'm probably not going to change anything except for my behavior, but I do get it. And if I was actually doing big numbers like 10 million a year, I'd probably go to accrual.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess it's just that whole thing. It's like, how far can you kick the can down the road, before you stop?
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kicking the can down the road.
It makes sense. So I know, like back in the day, it's one of those, we talked before, one of those like big cards you really started out was like that Charizard. What was it? The Charizard promo?
The Grand Prix Charizard illustrated card.
So, I mean, I pay attention to your site. And guys, if you guys don't know, Brian's online store is linked to the top of the description if you guys want to check out his site. It's having a trusted seller. It's going to ship it, fast. It's going to ship it well protected. I mean, me, plugging Brian a little bit. I mean, you're going to get treated right. You don't got to worry about, anything scam. All of his products straight from real distributors in Japan and America and everything else. So you can check that out if you're looking for any products. But I don't really see you mess with a lot of single cards anymore. Is it just because you don't have time for it, or is it just because it's so much easier to source and have margins on sealed, or what is it?
Yeah, so I never did singles other than like promo cards. The Grand Prix Charizard, the mischievous Pichu, the new Indonesian Pikachu, the Kanazawa Pikachu, just the promos, because they're all the same. I can put one listing up on the website and sell 500 of them. When you're doing and I just have a disclaimer. I said, hey, this picture is a stock image. Your centering and blah, blah, blah are going to vary. That's super easy. When you're selling like high value singles, even medium value singles, you gotta, this is lightly played. This is near mint. This is centered. Here's a perfect image. People are like, oh, can you take a picture of the back? I don't have time for that crap. I hate it. And I feel like while sealed product has fluctuated quite a bit, for the most part, it's a little less volatile than singles, and keeping track of all that, F that. I can't handle it.
Yeah, it's one thing, like, and I'm sure like people are probably liking me less than they used to, but I've recently stopped replying to a lot of messages on eBay
Yeah.
because you just get too much of it. You get too much of the extra pictures and this and that and asking questions about this. And it's just like, because a lot of my stuff, if I list it, unless it's a PSA card, it's easy that I've graded myself. I just copy and paste the images straight to, the scans from PSA straight on the listing. But for singles, like I'll either put TCG player or I'll throw it on eBay with a stock image and just say near mint and do the same thing you did with the description. And my whole deal is the people that message me and ask questions, I don't really, unfortunately, it's kind of bad to say, but I don't really want them as customers because those are the people that are going to be really particular. They're going to argue no matter what condition you put it in. I want the people who are going to buy a stock image because usually they're not going to be as upset about these little imperfections here and there. And those are the people I want to sell to because it's a smoother transaction.
Yeah, if you want like an exact, and I say this with a little bit of tongue in cheek, but if you want an exact quality of a card, buy a freaking graded card. And again, I said it tongue in cheek because grading is subjective and I think it's stupid, but I would ignore those comments too. Half the time, people are going to ask you 7 questions about a card, and then you'll never hear from them again, and then you just wasted your time.
And by the way, that's actually a thing now. It's more with the vintage I've seen, but even it's starting to creep into modern. And I think it's a small portion of because I don't get a ton of messages, but I even get messages on literally scans of the front and back of the card. People are wanting more images, more close-ups, more this, more that. I'm like, guys, I get you're into the whole strong 9, week 9, strong 10, week 10 thing. Like, I'm not your buyer, like, or I'm not your seller. Like, find someone else. I just don't get in that much of the weeds. I'm kind of like you.
Yeah, if you're like an LGS and you got customers in person that can hold the card, it really doesn't take more of your time. But when you're doing online, just taking a pen, I mean, go into your inventory, finding the card, photographing it, sending it. It's just not worth your time because by the time you do that for a customer, 3 other people could have bought the card or probably did buy the card. And I'll get that with my website. They'll be like, "Oh, can you take a picture of the box?" I'm like, "Yo, I have 200 of these." Like, no, I'm not gonna find you the perfect box, take a picture of it, and send it to you, because while I talk to you, 5 boxes sold. I know that sounds mean, but I'm not your guy for that.
Oh, that's so funny. So I mean, all right, let me think about this for a second. I know you made a video recently, kind of about like I don't know if you got another distributor, if you look for another distributor, but do you think with the market kind of has been more flat with Scarlet and Violet and then Japanese turning down, I guess obviously you're finding, but are distributors now opening up to more online based stores, not just physical LGSs? And do you also find that there's more, I guess, like quote unquote quasi distributors that are willing to sell to people in English, kind of like for you now?
I would love to say yes and get everyone like super hyped up, but like I don't think so. No. The only reason Peach State reached out to me was the guy was a huge fan of the YouTube channel and kind of made an exception. And so from what I'm observing with like all the people that kind of stay in contact with me that I kind of help motivate, which isn't very many, there's nothing that's changed with them. The distributors, despite what the market's doing as far as like, oh, booster boxes are only selling for $100, the distributors still have, there's not more stuff. Like apparently Temporal Forces is short printed. I don't know if it actually is, but nothing's changed on the distributor end. Pokemon is still sending the distros the same amount of stuff that they've been sending them for the past year. Nothing's changed. So them taking on more clients like me, nothing's changed. There's no reason why they take on more, at least in my opinion, and based on what I've been seeing. Even me, who like I give my distro a lot of money. Last year, I think I gave my main one 600K. This year, I've already given them 500. Like, I give a lot of money to these guys, and I still can't get 90% of the inventory. They don't allow me to get Lorcana. They don't allow me to get Magic. They don't allow me to get half of the toys and games and figures. Like, there's still rules that not even the distro sets, but the actual manufacturer sets. Pokemon does not have that rule as of now, but for the most part, distributors, like, it's not even their choice. It's the companies.
Yeah.
So to me, you're still SOL, and you're gonna have to do what I did, and that's make a ton of money on your own and get big on YouTube. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, so let's get a little spicy for everyone right now.
Yeah, I love getting
Because
spicy.
I know, because it's one of the things I like about you, man. You give it straight, and that's what I like for. But even if other people they're truthful, they're not lying. It's still like not technically giving people straight. Let's talk about sales and profits.
Yeah. Oh
Because,
man, they suck.
well, because man, you know how it is. Like, it doesn't matter what. It seems like this Pokemon space is like notoriously bad for it. And I get a lot of it's because YouTube, it's much easier to say I sold 250K than say I made 60 grand last year, but I've seen it in every aspect, right? With the online sellers, they like to show their 90-day eBay, sales at like 100K, but they don't like to tell you all the cost of inventory, how much it costs to grade all those cards, all the 9s and 8s or 7s they got, they took losses on. They don't like to tell you they made $20,000 or $30,000 off of that 100K, right? And then the same thing goes for like collecticons. I'm notoriously, I've come out against it so many times that everyone likes to, have that stack of cash and talk about how much they sold and show their empty cases or their empty binders. But no one likes to talk about how much they paid for everything, how much the cost for the tables, the cases, the travel, the hotel, the food was.
It's expensive.
And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I could literally go out like you. I could go out and buy $1 million in product, right? I could sell it all for 900 grand, lose 100 grand and be like, hey guys, I did 900 grand last year. I'm rolling. I could do the same thing right before a collecticon. I could go buy out all kinds of, I could go buy vintage boxes, sell the heavy packs. I could do all kinds of stuff and be like, I made 50 grand at collecticon, guys. I'm rich. But it's like, the real story is I profited a few grand. I made 10K, 15K in sales. I walked away with 2 or 3 grand. That's the reality. So talk a little about that, about the reality of this business and, like what, $1, $2, $3, $4 million in sales really equates to, because people don't realize everything costs money, all the shipping materials, the boxes, the bubble wrap, all that, the shipping itself, just the regular business expenses of operating a business. Like, it just, I feel like it isn't talked about enough in depth because it's YouTube. You got to throw the big numbers. I did 1 million in sales. It's like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean you made money? Does that mean you got rich? Does that mean you like? I don't know what that means. So like, take it away, man, because I know you always give it to everybody straight.
Yeah, I mean, it's as an aside, the Collecticon people, hot take, but I'm gonna go out there and say it. 90% of the people that go to Collecticon, no matter how big their money phone is at the end of the night, they lost money. Period. Because I've gone to enough of these cons, and I'm not bougie enough to get paid for most of them. And I can tell you, traveling is expensive. The opportunity cost is more expensive, and ain't no way 99% of these people are making money. No chance.
Do you know how much crap I get for talking about that, by the way?
It's so true. I mean, I've lived it. I see what they sell. I've gone to convention. I've done conventions locally where I calculate the amount of time I spent there and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I made $0. Now, the difference is me, I'm a big brand and I get my name out there and I know how to market my name. Most of these Collecticon booths I bought from them, they don't do anything for their brand. They just, they're all about cash transactions. They don't hand you, they don't make you want to buy from them online.
Well,
all they do is go to
I always talk about too, not to cut you off. A lot of people talk about, the whole like getting over on the government. Well, I take cash, so I don't have to pay taxes. It's like, first of all, you shouldn't be saying that. Yeah, first of all, you shouldn't be saying that. And second of all, look, even if you do make a little over on the government, you get cash. Here's the thing. What I always think about is whatever amount you sold, right? Here's what you need to think about is, let's say I sold 15 grand. Okay, you need to think about if I were to just have sold that online, not having to work these days. Okay, so if I were to sell online, say after fees, everything, you would have netted, whatever. You would have profited 4 grand, but at CollectCon, you maybe made more because taxes, maybe you made 1,000 more. It's like, is that 1,000 extra worth the hotel, the meals, the flight, the tables, the cases, setting up, like pricing everything the night before, setting up everything, getting your whole retail booth ready, standing there for 10 hours, unpacking, setting up the next day, staying there for 10 hours, flying home. Is all that worth that little bit extra?
No. And it's still illegal anyway.
Yeah, and it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't even think about the time there. I'm thinking about the opportunity cost while I'm away. But if you pay yourself minimum wage of like $8 an hour and you're there for probably 30 hours by the time you do the 2 days and then the setup, like, congrats, you made money, you made less money than like the average Wendy's cashier. Like, great, like, good for you, homie. Like, so So that was kind of my tangent, but hot take: 90% of people that don't make jacket Collecticon, they lose money. I didn't remember what the
if you
others.
had to guess, like obviously, you don't have to tell your numbers, but like if you had to guess like the average business, that does like 1 million a year, what do you think they're realistically like, before playing the tax game and all like the inventory, like what do you think realistically they'd be making like profit wise?
I mean, if they're doing sealed product right now, and not like the singles and the graded slabs and all that, to me, like if your profit margin can consistently be like 18%, which like honestly in this market is extremely like unrealistic. I mean, what is that? That's what one milli times 18%. So 180 grand, and then your actual net profit, which would account for shipping and the boxes and the marketing, the advertising, blah 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 blah. I mean, if you're netting like 11 or 12% on a milli, you're doing probably what I would consider average in this current market. Because if you think about it, so $1 million, I mean, you're probably going to end up with like 125 grand profit, and then the government's going to take half of that. So it's not a bougie game. People think I'm freaking loaded, and I'm not. Like it's just not how it is. I have a very nice house. I live a very comfortable life. I make some money from that, but you don't make a lot of money doing this now. Now that being said,
well, you're also in a higher, you're in a top tier. Like, I mean, I looked at the statistic today, and I mean, this is apparently it's still a real statistic because it was like from either this year or last year, but it still says that 90% of YouTube channels still have less than 10,000 subscribers,
which is wild.
So that means you're technically in the top 10% of YouTubers, and I'm thinking for Pokemon businesses, you're probably up there as well. I mean, I think a lot of businesses don't even do 1 million. So if you're talking, 11 to 10 to 15% profit margins, and people are showing these sales figures of 1, 2, 300K, you got to believe they're not making much more than working some office job with no risk, no stress, nothing.
100%. And in the defense of the other side, if you are only selling 1 or 2 or 300K, you probably have higher margins. You're probably charging a little bit more. The reason my margins are ass is because I want to move a ton of volume. But that being said, in this current market, you're not making jack. I mean, when the booster boxes in English, when they do inevitably get back to MSRP at release, which they will it be 20, 30, 35? I have no idea. Then I'll be making some bank because I can get them for like $87, $88, double my money. I'll be rich for sure. But right now, so I get I pay $88 a booster box, right? And I'm selling them for 110. So 110 times 3%, which is the processing fee, that's already $330. So 110 minus $330, it's $106. I'm getting them for 88. So I'm making $18.70 a box if I'm selling them at 110, which is already kind of overpriced if you compare it to TCG Player. So then there's the shipping boxes, which average out to about $1 a box or so minus $1. And then there's the labor now, because I have employees, and I don't know how exactly you'd calculate that, but say another $1. Well, I have no idea how you'd calculate that.
Right.
But overall, it's like, if you're lucky, if you're a little over TCG Player, which people hate on you for, you're maybe profiting like $15 a booster box. And when you consider how much money you have to lay down, it's not that much money. It really isn't. And that's best case scenario. The Japanese stuff, it's like, I'm lucky I wasn't too over leveraged, but even so, with shiny treasures, it's like, yeah, I'm getting it for 38. By the time it gets here after shipping, it's like 41. I'm selling them for like 47.50. Big freaking deal.
And even the graded market, I mean, everyone kind of knows that does that business. I mean, even that's getting really watered down, right? Like, I think we finally reached an equilibrium where there's enough people grading now to kind of keep up with the amount of customers there are, where before there was just like not enough people grading. And so it was just kind of like free money. It's where the whole Z&G Emporium never punished thing came from, because even 9s you made money on. And now we're to the point where you're losing money on 9s. 10s aren't that big of a premium. And so if like you send 10 cards in and I don't know, 3, 4 of them get 9s, well, the profits you're going to make on the 10s barely offset it. And all this work and grading fees, it really doesn't account to much. So you have to be almost like near perfect with your grading, and you have, the cards you find that you order that aren't gradable, flipping those back, eating those fees and shipping. It's becoming increasingly harder to find good margins in this business right now.
I don't even think it's possible, quite frankly, because even if you are freaking Jesus of grading cards, you can tell that's a 10. You're still dealing with the subjectivity of PSA.
Yep.
Right? And I mean, so to your point earlier, if you are playing that game where you buy 20 raws and you ship them out to get graded, and everyone only talks about how much money they made on the 10s, like you said, they're not talking about everything you just listed. It's like going to a freaking casino, winning a $2,000 jackpot, but you're not mentioning that your ass was in the casino crying on the slots for the past week, losing $80 a day, and you're actually down $4,000 for the month. People are delusional. You cannot make money purely buying raw cards and grading them. I don't care who you are or what you say. If that's the only thing you're doing in 2024, you ain't gonna make money. And if you
why is anyone talking about these things? Like, why is it so taboo to talk about the fact that everything's not sunshine and rainbows and everyone's making millions of dollars driving Bugattis with beach homes?
I have no idea. The irony here is here's the irony. When you're talking about YouTube, negativity typically sells. People like to see the downfall of people. People like to see when people F up. But ironically, when you're talking about the business side of things, negativity or just being realistic, for some reason that doesn't hit as hard. For some reason, with business, people like only positive content. Like, I made $1 million. I got a Bugatti. Now, it works for me because I'm so brazen and I'm such a dick about it that I think people kind of vibe with that. But the reason you don't hear about the realistic thing, besides everything I just said, is people they like to flex. They don't like to admit that they're barely making more than a Wendy's cashier.
Yeah.
Like, humble up, bro. Like, you're not rich.
I'm in the same boat, man. It's just like, that's why I do some of the things that I do just to kind of pull enough sources of income together to sort of make an income, because I saw real quickly, I'm like, to make a full-time living just grading cards or doing the singles game, I mean, you're either having to do what the bulk guys do and get those Roca sorters and you're shipping, hundreds and hundreds of envelopes of singles a month, or your grading is just going to have to be I don't know, hundreds, if not 1,000 cards a month just to make enough, because the margins are so small, just to make enough to actually make a good income. And
volume.
Yeah, it's like everything has to be volume. And so it's just like people with these, they see that's my issue with it. It's like, I'm not against people. I'm not trying to make enemies. It's just, I legitimately see things. I see newcomers or people who are kind of novices to the hobby. They see videos like that of people showing these graded returns and showing the profits, showing the sales. And it's an unrealistic view, because then people are thinking, oh man, if I could just start doing this, then I could quit my job or I could make that kind of money. And it's like, oh, you're in it for a world of hurt because people aren't saying the whole story.
Yeah, you're selling a dream. And while most of these people don't have courses, at least in the Pokemon world, compared to crypto or whatever, you're still getting good ad revenue from it. And that's how that's another reason why I guess you're trying to make yourself look Gucci. You're getting ad revenue from the clicks. The real funny thing is, and here's another secret, the secret side of Pokemon that most of the people in this chat won't know about, maybe even you. All the YouTubers, me included, who, we flex on our sales, even if we're being honest about our margins, and we flex on our graded card returns. Anyone that's just sending cards to a grading company, like me or you would, or anyone in the comments would, they're paying the fake price. If PSA's price that they have on their website is $20 a card, whatever the hell it is, that's not actually the real price. If you're trying to make it big, the real price is $11 a card. There are people at Collecticon where, if you know the right people, you'll get in contact with them. They're paying $11 to grade a card when everyone else is paying $25, because they're sending. I know one guy, I talked to him at length. He sends in $1 million of cards a month. That homie, he can make money doing this game because he's paying less than half of what you and I would be. And those are the people actually making money. And the irony is, they don't have public accounts. They might have an Instagram, maybe. They might post here and there. But the people making real money in this industry, they don't do it public. People think I'm a big deal because I'm talking about 7 figures a year. Big deal. The folks actually getting rich off this, I know a guy in South Dakota, old head, he's 50 years old. He does graded cards and he also does sealed product. When a new set comes out, he buys $2 million of it a set. This guy is churning 10 mil a month. A lot of it's sports cards, granted, but that's where the big money's at. And so
Yeah.
these little small fries like you and me, who might decide, oh, I'm gonna grade these cards and sell them as PSA 10s, like that ain't even it. Even if you magically do find that profitable, which you probably won't, unless you're doing super high volume, you ain't nothing. And that includes me.
Do you have any idea? Like, I know you talk about graded cards. Do you have any ideas what like the real big guys, like what like a P Football Pete and those guys like would pay for booster boxes?
Yeah. So the guy that buys, and by the way, the football Pete guy, like the people, I'm sure he's huge and massive, and he's probably loaded as hell. But the people really making money in this, you don't know their name. They don't have any public at all. Like they're just underground, just like most billionaires are. You know,
How
we
are they
hear
moving
about.
their product?
Well, okay, when you go to eBay and you type in a booster box, you know, on the top there's like 3,500 boxes sold, and they're like at like lower than they're like at $100. And you got to consider, okay, well, they're paying 12% fees. How the hell are they making money?
Well, that's
You,
another thing that no one talks about. Like eBay also gives sweetheart
yes,
deals
they
and
do.
fees as well.
Yes, they do. So the person in South Dakota who I know, and he's become kind of a friend of sorts. He's this old guy. Anyway, he pays like $68 a booster box from his distributor. Normies like me pay like 88 to 92. So he's
Right.
getting them for like 68. And then he has a deal with eBay where, get this, I'm not even kidding you, he doesn't pay fees.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. He pays like I think it's like a percent or two. Like he doesn't pay basically anything. And he's an old head. I mean, he started when eBay was a brand new thing. Like he was an OG of eBay. And these people, they run the world. If you go to eBay and you type in any booster box, on the top there's going to be an ungodly number. And the reason I know that what he's saying is true is because if you do the math, there's no way you'd make money on this.
Of
It's
course
like
not. Yeah.
there's no way, it's not possible. So I don't think he's lying. I mean, this is obviously anecdotal because like I've talked to him and two other people who are like big ballers. They pay about $70. eBay charges them maybe 1 or 2%. Because if you think about it, if they're churning a few $1,000,000 a month, 1% is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, or 2%. You know, it's
It's
nutty.
That's I've heard real low fees. Like I've heard 5 and 6%. I haven't heard like nothing like that. That's wild. That's wild.
This dude's a big deal, and maybe he's exaggerating. That's obviously possible. I wouldn't die on his cross.
Right.
But as far as the distributor pricing, I know that's true.
So what about? I know you've kind of like veered away from some of like the other languages and like the other like newer TCGs. What other TCGs are you still trying to carry, and are you still doing any like Korean, Chinese stuff or anything like that?
So Korean's doing really well, actually,
Okay.
and I'm actually looking into getting in Korean One Piece. I'm working on that project right now. So Korean stuff's, I don't know why, because ironically Japanese is way lower. So in my brain, I thought Korean would fall off because me, the whole point of Korean was it's the same art as Japan, but way cheaper. So in my head, if a Japanese booster box was selling for like $50, why would you buy a Korean box for that price? I was wrong. For whatever reason, we're selling the hell out of Korean. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm trying to get Korean One Piece. One Piece Japanese has been absolutely freaking wild. I think because the English One Piece is so damn expensive.
Right.
It's just like how Japanese Pokemon was. So those are aces. As far as like Weiss Shorts, I buy the sets with popularity and hot anime girls. You have to have both. There's sets with hot anime girls that aren't very popular mainstream, and then there's super mainstream sets like Attack on Titan that don't have the hot anime girls. The formula for my site is you need both. And those are the only sets I buy, and I only buy 1 or 2 master cases per release, and that's it because the stuff just doesn't move like it used to. That's it. That's all I stick with. I can't get Lorcana. Metazoo's obviously gone. Yu-Gi-Oh! I tried. It sucked for me. Digimon I tried. It sucked for me. So I've really like lowered my my offerings, you know.
No, it makes sense. I mean, you got to go with what's working. Yeah, it's so funny, man. Like I was at my local car shop, like, they have their cases, but then they also have like their backstock. And it's a girl behind the counter, so keep that in mind. It is a female, and she literally says, she goes, yeah, I'll go through it and find any of the trainers with big boobs or short skirts. I'm like, you got it.
Yep, that's what the people want, and
there's
a lot of people. Man. Yeah, there's people that deny that or try to deny it, and I'm like, you're delusional, like you're tripping, like, or you're not doing enough sales.
Thing, like people don't want Charizard. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. To me, it's the same. This is obviously kind of a stretch and analogy, but it's like the people that say Nickelback's the worst band in the world, and they sell more than like 90% of the bands. It's this weird thing that everyone kind of like knows but doesn't want to admit. And I've learned that, and I capitalize on it. Now I don't have 50 million boxes of like a white short set that doesn't sell. I really lowered my leverage on it. I need to go upstairs for like 1 second. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead. When you come back, we'll take some questions.
Yeah. I gotta let my one of my employees inside, so I'll BRB.
Yeah, go ahead, guys. If you got any questions for us, leave them in the chat now. I'll take them. I'll go ahead and scroll back through a little bit. And it could be for me, for Brian, for both of us, whatever you want to talk about. Poke Department Store with the super chat earlier, revisiting the tax talk from the chat. Yeah, man, it seems like tax talks always get brought up in here for some reason. Don, always in here supporting, gifting 5 memberships. Appreciate you, Don. I'm sure everyone that got one appreciates it as well. What else do we have going on? Okay, I'm going to try to go back and see what people have been saying, but yeah, man, guys, it's always just good to have Brian on the channel. Like, it's just a breath of fresh air. Like, someone else just gives it to you straight. Like, you know, I feel like a lot of people, and not just in Pokemon, just out there, no one wants to give it to you straight. Everyone wants to, like, you know, kind of give half truth, or, you know, not talk about everything, not give everything the long and short of it because they're afraid how it'll go over, or they're afraid of how people will take it. Or, I mean, the best thing to do is just give it all out there. Let people think what, you know, get the whole story and make of it what they want. And that's why I always like Brian. All right. Let's see what you guys have been saying in the chat. By the way, over like 250 people are in here. That is crazy. Thank you all for showing up and hanging out with us in the middle of a Monday afternoon. That's crazy stuff. I already said it before, but Brian's link to his online store is up top if you guys want to check him out. Oh, what do we got saying in here, guys? We must. Oh, man. Talking about some rattle drama. This must have been from earlier. From some whatnot drama. Yeah, guys, I mean, you know, I'll talk about whatnot. Like, I have nothing like bad to say about whatnot. It just seems like the direction they are trying to go is more geared towards like singles and slabs and not as much pack openings. And here's the thing, like, I'm not all about the money. Like, obviously, as a business, I'm trying to like make a living, but I enjoy opening packs. Like, it's a great time. I mean, it's fun, exciting. I get to pull the hits. Like, I'm like a kid. I still get excited when I pull the big hits for people, even though they're not for me. And I still sneak some packs off screen. Like when I'm bored, I'll still like turn around and crack some just because I can't always stop the urge. But I enjoy opening packs. Like, I'm not as much of a fan of like flashing a single on screen and saying, okay, 20 seconds, bid on it. All right, I'll ship it out. It doesn't hit the same way. So that's kind of why I haven't been on whatnot as much these days. It's not really what I'm looking for.
Okay, we're back.
What's up, man? I've just been kind of going through the chat. I'm just trying to find questions for us to take.
Nice. I'm all about questions. Q&A is my favorite, for real. Q&A.
All right, here we go. Average player. Question. All right, let me go over. Sorry, I got to go over on StreamYard so it pulls it up. All right, question. For Brian, when having employees, what makes you trust them? And if they make mistakes, how do you make sure they learn from them? Good question.
That's such a good question, because that's a question I've been asking myself for the 2.5 years that I put off hiring people.
I mean, so, honestly, like it's probably one of the reasons that I was never able to, not able to, but never wanted to like grow my old companies larger than they were. Like my landscaping company, like once I got like another crew out there and I was with the crew, like even going further than that, it's so hard to have that level of trust and that level of stress. And they're all out there with all these thousands of dollars of trucks and equipment and dealing with customers' property. And
that's terrifying.
yeah, I'm interested to hear this answer.
So that liability is a whole nother level. I don't got to worry about any of that crap. That sounds horrible. And I'd have a lot of trouble with that. So for me, I had two big hangups with hiring people. Number one, my business is in my house, so I wanted I don't want some kid in here packing orders when me and my wife are trying to watch TV upstairs. So it wasn't even a trust problem. It was like I need my privacy problem. I always say I want to sit around on the couch naked, and you can't do that when you have an employee down here. So as far as trust goes, I at first was super worried about someone like stealing this, like walking out with it in their purse or whatever. And then I realized, who cares? That doesn't matter. What I was really worried about trust wise is what my dad brought up, who was a cop for 26 years. And he's like, you shouldn't worry about this. You shouldn't even worry about a freaking base set 2 booster box. Big deal. You lose 20 grand. Okay, write it off. What you should be worried about is security. Like, think about it. You hire some kid and, for whatever reason, they're either nefarious or you like fire them and they get pissed off. And then they share your habits. Oh, he leaves this window unlocked. Oh, I saw him punch in this garage code. Oh, I know that at this time he leaves his door open for his dogs. And then he tells his friend, and then his friend's like, all right, we gonna have a break-in. And then all your stuff's gone. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
A few booster boxes, even expensive ones, big deal. I got insurance for that. And I have insurance for the whole basement, for the record.
Do you have a lot of base set 2 boxes lying around?
Yeah, so many. No, I don't have any. I was just doing that for the exaggeration. But I do have some expensive stuff lying around, and even the most expensive thing, if they steal from me every single day, eventually I'm gonna notice, for one, but who cares? It's petty theft. I'm worried about my livelihood, especially if I hire someone that I shouldn't trust and they do everything I just said. And my dogs are freaking annoying as hell. If someone breaks in here, they're gonna be screaming. They hurt one of my dogs. To shut them up. That's a nightmare. So I put it off forever, and eventually I realized I need people. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hire a family. That a lot of families will screw you over too, but my family's legit. So I hired my cousin Abby, who I trust with my life, and she can come in and out as she pleases. She's great. I hired my brother-in-law, who I trust with my life, and then I did hire my boy Bryce, who was a customer and kind of a fan of the channel. And then we go to the same gym, and we've gone for the past year. I know him well. I know his family well. I think he's kind of religious. He's got like a good head on his shoulders. Super smart kid, going to college. He's not nefarious. I don't think I have any problems with him. But that's probably the only risk I'll ever take. I don't see myself hiring anyone else unless they're related to me, like by blood. So it was hard though.
So you got three employees now.
They're all very part-time. I'm not big balling. Abby comes in, like, I have her all day Thursday and then like one other day a week. Bryce, I got Mondays and Fridays for a few hours. And then Jake, I got maybe 12 hours a week kind of throw out. Basically, they just kind of keep the basement clean. They keep the boxes. Because I have truckloads of boxes. I have to take to the recycling center every week or so. They do all that. And then Abby, she packs all the orders and keeps things up to snuff. I'm not big bougie. Like, I don't have like a whole army here.
You know how you can tell you are big balling is because you act like you're not. That's how it is.
I mean,
like
maybe,
anyone that tries it. I mean, obviously there's some gurus out there. There's the Grant Cardones, the Andrew Tates, who they're big balling. Yeah. Like most people who are big balling, like they're the ones that act like they're not and live frugally. The ones that like aren't doing it, they're the ones that act like they're really killing it. That's how you can tell, man. That's how I know you're a real one.
I mean, I appreciate that. I try to just keep it real, but I guess compared to some people, they might think I am, but it's not like I got a whole team working 40 hours a week. It just kind of helps me out, helps me keep myself sane.
We had kind of covered this earlier, but does Brian keep old stock or liquidate? Yeah, like how long do you usually hold on to stuff?
For the first 2 years, I needed cash always, so I didn't hold on to anything. And looking back, I could regret it. I could be like, damn, I should have kept those Dream League boxes. I should have kept those Evolving Skies boxes, the Fusion Strike boxes. But I know that, hey, when I bought $10,000 of Fusion Strike, that was a lot of my savings, and I needed that money to buy Brilliant Stars or whatever. So I'm okay with that mentally. Now I have enough capital in the bank, and I have enough like management in my brain where I do keep stuff long enough to sell it at a fair price. And we talked about this earlier. I don't hold stuff really like as an investment, but I'm also not giving it away. Like I'm not gonna sell all my Paldean evolved boxes for $90 like they're on TCG Player. I'll put a bunch up for like 100. I'll put a bunch up for the MSRP, knowing damn well they're not gonna sell. But I don't keep stuff very long. I only
Yeah, and I mean,
liquidate.
honestly, like I talk about it all the time, guys. If you're doing this full time, or if you're trying to make the most amount of profit per year, churning and burning, flipping, that is the way to go. Like you're not gonna outpay someone like Brian by investing. Like even though like you've always guys at $700 a box, right? It would a 6x from $100. I mean, dude, in these last few years, while it took it to get there, you've made exponentially more than that off that money by churning and burning it 100 times. And so it all just comes down to that active versus passive. Like you're not gonna, when you're in a business like this, you're just not gonna outpace your business by investing.
No,
It's not.
that's a good point. You're also gonna work a lot less investing, so hey, it evens out.
But if you need, I mean, if you're doing this for income, it's like you gotta have. You can't. It's like people's 401ks don't give them income until like the end of their life type thing. It's like you need income.
For sure. When I am like truly big balling, like if I ever get to the point where I'm making like real money, then I might think about investing in Pokemon because it seems like a good deal. But right now, I'm just not there. Now,
is it a good deal at $200 though? Fusion Strike at $200. Here's my thoughts, guys. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you're asking me, is it a good investment? $200. Well, what is a good investment? Do I think it can be $400 in the next like 3 to 5 years? Probably.
Yeah.
Where else can you double your money in 3 to 5 years? I mean, so technically it still could be a good investment. I mean, are there better places to put $200? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's it just comes down to basically how much capital do you have and how likely are you to be able to hold that without having to be like, oh, my car broke and now I need to sell it and I'm going to take a 12% loss now.
Yeah, that too. How are y'all not making money grading? I'm not saying I'm not making money grading. What I'm saying is with the margins, what they are, the amount of time you're putting into trying to source cards, grading all the cards, when you're actually taking into account the profits after cost of the cards, cost of grading, taking out the either break evens or losses on the 9s and 8s that you get with the profits of the 10s. The amount of volume you have to do to make any legitimate amount of money is just so great. And I don't think a lot of people are making it. Like, again, like Brian, we talked about earlier, you see people showing their sales or their big hits and things, but they're not showing you all the hours and hours and hours behind the scenes doing all the sourcing, the grading, the pre-grading, making the listings, making the sales, the shipping, and all for what? Like we were talking about, selling 200 grand and you might make, I don't know, 50, 60, 70. It's like, well, could you just made more, I don't know, working a job and putting money into something else and letting it grow passively? Like, and those are the things that I think about. Now, it's not much less like you're not making any money. It's just, is all the effort you're putting in and risk you're putting in worth the little bit amount of money you are making?
100%.
That's kind of what I was going for. I know things always get taken out of context when we do these.
Probably. That's what makes it fun,
Let's see what we got, man. If you see any questions you want to take, let me know. I'm gonna take a super chat. Snowy, I think Legends A to Z is gonna be massive for TCG, so I'm collecting booster boxes from Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet before the new Mega cards come out. I actually thought you were gonna take that a different directions. Thanks for the $5 super chat, but I was thinking you were going to take that back to the XY because that's what I've been thinking. Like, I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think like the XY like boxes and the XY like mega full arts are going to be affected by this?
Like
they're bringing back megas.
Bryce just came in. Maybe I'm naive and I'm not a collector, so like take my opinion with a grain of salt. I don't believe in any correlation. I really don't. I don't think there's any connection. Like, I mean, because okay, there's black and white Pokemon in it or whatever. What is ZA? Is that X and Y, or is it black and white?
Megas. Well, I don't A to Z. I think I'm not exactly sure. I haven't paid a ton of attention. I just know they're bringing back the Mega Evolutions. So I was just thinking the Mega Evolutions from XY might see some pump.
Okay. So Mega Evolution. So okay, there's a new video game with Mega Evolutions. I don't think anyone like buys. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think anyone goes and's like, oh, that's right. Pokemon has Mega Evolutions in the TCG too. I'm gonna buy all these boxes. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think anyone, to be honest, I don't think anyone buys old booster boxes for particular Pokemon. If you want to buy a particular Pokemon, you'll just buy a single. In my head, like no one's gonna be like, oh man, Mega Lucario's coming back to the Nintendo Switch. I'm gonna buy Cosmic Eclipse. I'm just making this up. I'm gonna buy Cosmic Eclipse. There's a Mega Lucario in there. I don't think that's a thing, personally. I think it's number one, the video games and the TCG. I think those are light years apart anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think most video game players, I don't think they even buy TCG, if I'm being real. And if there is even somewhat of a correlation, I can't see any set being affected by it personally. I mean, if they redid red and green and blue and yellow, which they've done a million times, but I don't see any interest in like base set Pokemon cards going up. Right? Maybe they would. I don't think
the only
so.
thing I see is like maybe the cards, like you said, maybe like those Mega Evolutions with like the Japanese writing going down them from like XY. Maybe those do see some pumps from like some of the characters that are in the game, or some of the, if there's like a set. That's what, if there's like a set attached to the game where they release a set, then it might be even better. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think if people are going to buy out sealed boxes because of it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you just made. If there's a set directly tied to the game, so like when Pokemon Go, the TCG for Pokemon Go came out, yeah, I think that makes sense, because Pokemon Go cards, that makes sense to me. But this is essentially a remake of a game, more or less, that came out 10 years ago, more or less. I don't see the connection.
So I actually want to take this question a little different way, but how much capital do you need to start up an LLC and get a distributor? Don't plan on being a big seller. And would like to make it a part-time thing because I like buying and selling Pokemon. So we kind of covered that earlier. You can't really get distribution without a physical location. So if you're just wanting to do online, it really isn't possible unless you have like Brian said, a big following or some kind of crazy amount of sales you can show them. But I did want to take that a different way. Is have you ever in your whole time doing this ever had the thoughts of opening a store and like crunch the cost of what it would cost or anything like that?
I thought about it for a very small bit, and I think that was more of a manic mode I was in, because when I actually thought about it, I'm like, that would suck. So, as far as...
Why was it a manic mode?
Because I'm manic. I have like mania swings, and I think sometimes I get bored and I make really dumb decisions. Like, I'm straight medicated for this now, which has helped a lot, but like I have a whole video on it. Like, I've done some crazy stuff. Just because the dopamine hits, and like, so I think that was one of them, because as a medicated, like forward-thinking person, I don't know why on earth you would even think about doing this right now. It sounds miserable. If you have an assload of money and you're doing this for a passion project, mazel tov. I assume you're an average person that gets like maybe $40,000 to $70,000 a year at your real job. I think you're nuts to even think about starting an LGS. An online store, whole different story. You don't need any capital, really. You buy stuff, you sell it, you scale. You know, you don't need to like invest $10,000 in inventory. Don't do that, because you're not going to sell $10,000 of inventory right away. But when I was thinking about doing an LGS, you know, here in Omaha, if you want a nice location and a nice part of town that's like 2,000 square feet, you're looking at probably between $8,000 and $11,000 a month. You have to sign a 5-year contract typically, so that's already a ton of money. Then, if it's an LGS, you're going to need a full-time employee, at least one, probably two. So that's going to cost you $50,000 a year for each employee, and then you're going to end up being there too. So, you know, crunch your time into that. Utilities are going to be probably what, $300-400 a month, depending on what you're doing, probably more than that. And then just the signage and the build out. I mean, if you want the slot walls and the shelves and the counters and all that, you're looking at probably $20,000 for the build out. And then if it all goes to hell, year 2, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, basically, if you have attachments to the building, that belongs to the landlord now. Even all the counters and blah, 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 you're going to have to sell those somehow. You're still 3 years of that lease, and sometimes you can sublease it out, sometimes you can't. So you might be paying that $8,000 to $11,000 a month for 3 more years and not have any income. I mean, to me, if you want to start an LGS, I would say in cash you need 100 grand, and in inventory you need at least 50. And if you don't have that, don't even try.
Yeah, I mean,
What's up,
and
Bryce?
like on the flip side, like online, I mean, you can start with basically nothing. I mean, if you got $1,000, I mean, start finding. I mean, the best place to pick up if you're trying to grade is probably in person. You can actually see and feel the cards in person. Usually, work a deal with cash or something. And there's still grading plays that have exponential returns, so that's a way. Maybe, I don't know, you know more than me, maybe like some of the Japanese or Korean or some of those products have margins you can still make and still get for the right price. I don't know, but
definitely that would be the way to do it online.
Yes, English. No, you're not. Again, you can't get distribution. You're not going to find English sealed to be able to flip anywhere unless you're like Brian and you're just like an expert marketer. And even though your price, like, even though you're going to be brand new and maybe, you start a site and you can bring enough traffic from there, from like TikTok or Instagram or somewhere, Facebook, I don't know, maybe you can make it work. But as far as like starting and selling on eBay, TCG Player, something like that, it's going to be very hard unless you do it in like a different language or you grade cards or buy out collections. Like, you're just not going to do it with English sealed product.
No.
No way. Let's see what we got here. I know I saw a crazy Crypto man, love the chats. $20 super chat, dude. Too kind.
Ooh, damn.
Appreciate you. For Brian, I saw recently you had some EV Heroes back in stock. Just curious when these boxes are usually out of stock but come back in stock if you are still getting them from distributors. KO Ken, that's the name.
I don't have a secret stash of EV Heroes. I buy those new from distros when they're trying to get rid of stuff. So my guy Bryce is here. Spells it with a Y. It's the right way. Someone was asking how you spelled your name.
Definitely with a Y.
Definitely with a Y.
Believe it or not, it's a mistake made far too often.
You want to give him a wave?
What up?
You got to bend down. There you go. That's Bryce. Yeah, I don't have a secret stash of EV Heroes. I bought like 15 boxes from my distro because she was giving me a good deal because she owes taxes in Japan, and also Japan's in kind of a recession right now. So I was able to secure my newest stock at a cheap price. But as far as getting more, I mean, I get them when I can. It's not like a regular piece of inventory I can acquire.
All right, we got Jose says, what are you guys' thoughts on the big spikes recently, the Sword and Shield boxes? 1 year projection from now. Oh man, I hate the projection things, but my thoughts are Chilling Reign Fusion Strike is kind of happens when things go out of stock at the Pokemon Center. They spike over at the MSRP and run a little bit. So guys, I made a video yesterday, people talking buyouts. Brian can give his opinion, but buyouts, manipulation, all that stuff. I mean, guys, it's an unregulated market. There's always going to be people trying to make plays and use their capital to push things around. But like, as far as like some mass like attempt to buy things out or mass manipulation, I don't see it. I think it's normal rises after things sell out and people realize they're not going to be around much anymore, and the big stores don't have their gigantic stocks anymore. It's just regular market movement in collectibles. Evolving Sky, same way. It's people are kind of giving up on the reprint possibilities. And the sellers that had bought early that were selling at 500 kind of dried up, and that kind of price level got taken out, and now it's just kind of off to the races. So I don't see anything crazy going on. 1 year projections, Chilling Reign Fusion Strike will probably be in the mid 200s, probably. Evolving Skies maybe hits 1,000. That's kind of my projection. I don't know. What do you think, man?
That sounds about right. I don't think there's any secret system like trying to boost these up. The logistics of it just sound like they'd be too challenging. Really, like the logistics of like, hey guys, we're gonna buy up all the Chilling Reign. Maybe I'm naive, but it's kind of like the folks that like believe in like the flat Earth theory. It's like the logistics of everyone just being like, yo, we've all been to space, we all work at NASA, but like we gonna keep that down. We gonna keep that on the DL. Like logistically, it just seems challenging to like get a bunch of people together and do one thing. Especially in something as silly as Pokemon card. Maybe I'm wrong. As far as your like projections, I mean, it seems logical to me. I'm not like an investment channel. I'm really good at business and marketing. I don't pretend that I'm good at anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to be at. I'm just giving honest, like what it looks like. I mean, I could see Fusion Strike starting to kind of level out in that mid 200. Like Chilling Rain will probably follow. Like, you know, Evolving Skies. I mean, we saw what happened with Team Up. That's the only reason I say it could go 1,000 plus. Because I mean, if Team Up pumped like that, I don't know. Maybe Evolving Skies can too. I'm just taking shots in the dark of like educated guesses, but no one knows what's going to happen in this market.
Facts.
So here's kind of what we were saying. I was a gamer for most of my life. I didn't mess with the cards. Now I'm into the cards and barely even touch a Switch. So yeah, it's like there's no correlation.
Not at all.
Brett said, "How's Mason doing it?" Probably talking about Card Shop. So guys, I had Mason on. If you want to go watch that live stream, Mason talked about it. I mean, he worked as a TSA at the airport and ran the card shop part-time with a partner. And they started out in a really small shop and then they started to expand. And they did it with games too. So he also has a video game section. They make money on, you know, like bulk, they sing singles, you know, they're a play store. So they have events, like they have a lot of different money coming in, and it was built over years, and he had a partner, and it's video games. So it's like, that's a lot different than trying to start from scratch and going full LGS. It's a different scenario.
110%.
Let's see.
I want to know what fake transparency is. How do you fake that?
Who said that?
It's in the chat. You guys realize this guy's fake transparency, right? I'll show. I mean, you can fake flex. You can be like, I make $1 million a year. You can fake that. I don't know how you fake dogging on yourself, but I mean, whatever.
Fake transparency.
Pokey looking for the
Pokey, hey, Pokey, no hate, man. Just elaborate. Elaborate what you're talking about.
Right.
Let's get to the bottom of this. We talked about ripping chips. So, Pleek, we talked about like, you know, whatnot and doing breaks on our own channel. So we did kind of talk ripping ships, but he's talking, are folks breaking even and how much are they getting booster packs for? I mean, I think ripping ships are go pretty well. You know, when you break it down, I mean, just from my own experience, like when you break it down, like it's not like crazy money. It's, you know, you can make a little bit off the packs depending what you get them for. But, you know, the time you're on screen and the time you spend shipping afterwards, shipping materials, all that, it's not like some crazy money-making operation. But, you know, it's if you have a channel, build your content, you make a little money, you have some fun. I can't speak for every individual person. I mean, Brian, you always did pretty well with ripping ships, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I think ripping ships are still extremely popular. And I think it's probably realistically the only way to truly make money in this industry if you're just starting out now. Even on like the streaming platforms, which I prefer building my own website and doing it on my own, but realistically, a lot of you guys aren't going to want to do that. So you're going to do whatnot, a drip, blah, blah, blah. I think it's still very profitable because you are charging a premium that would be like unjustified and unfair if you had a website. Like, I mean, even if you, even if you're getting, say you're getting market price for like, say $110 for temporal forces. I think that's what we're selling them for. Okay, well, 110 divided by 36 is $3.05 a pack. I think most ripping shippers could probably charge $5 a pack pretty easily. Probably. I mean, so 5 minus 3 is 2 times 36 equals 72. Say that's even an over-exaggeration. You're making only $50 a box. That's way more than I make a box. Well, yeah, you sell a case at $50 a box times 6. You're making $300 a case. The only trick to ripping ships is you need to be like, liked, trusted, and known. That's a big one. A lot of people are likable, a lot of people are trustworthy, but they're not known. It's like making a good YouTube video. If you got a bad thumbnail and a bad title, ain't no one gonna see it. Who cares how good or bad it was? So yeah, ripping ships, I think that's big ball, and I made a lot of money doing ripping ships, but it takes time.
The thing with ripping ships too, it's like there's circumstances, like even I've come across like doing some on my channel where it's like it's actually beneficial for both parties. So like recently I opened Ultra Prism box, right? It didn't go the greatest. We pulled the Lucamine, but not much else. But so Ultra Prism booster packs are selling daily on TCG Player for like almost $22. I was able to sell them at $23. If you were a Patreon, I'm not pushing my Patreon, but you get 10% off the pack breaks. So you were getting the packs for like $20. So you were getting a pack from a sealed booster box with a more guaranteed hit rate. You know, it hasn't been tampered with or resealed, weighed, whatever people do. And you're getting it for under market. And so it's like, but then it was beneficial for me because if I can buy a whole booster box and still have a little margin, built in because I'm buying the whole box instead of the packs because, when pocket boxes get older, there's less people that can afford $600-700. There's more people that can afford $20. There's a little for me. People are getting a better deal, and it kind of works out for both parties. So yeah, I mean, rip and ships are good in all ways. Like the brand new sets, especially people that get the stuff early. Like people can't even get the cards yet, but people are able to get on rip and ships and get them early still. Like I think there's a lot. It's fun. It's exciting. It's it's a good time. Like I don't know. I think it's good for both parties.
Agreed, 100%.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I've bought into rip and ships on different channels before. So it's like I always look at everything of would I do it? Like would I spend money on it? And the same thing with mystery products. Like I don't have mystery products. No, I have no intention of doing it. So don't worry. But I used to buy mystery power boxes at Walmart when I got back in the hobby. It's like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like it's not my cup of tea anymore. And it's not like, I'm not trying to say it's a great value. What I'm saying is it's like, there's nothing wrong with, putting a bunch of randomly, as long as the actual odds and the seeding is real. And there's actually that those chases in there, but it's like, something wrong with people making a profit, giving people a gambling chance. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
It's all fun, right?
It's all something to do, something to waste money on. Why not?
I mean, I'm sure you're in the same boat. Like my position in this hobby, like now is unless you're legitimately scamming, lying, cheating, stealing, something like that, or resealing, whatever it may be, unless you're doing something like that, more power to you how you're making money.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as there's certain things in my opinion, you can't do if you have an established business doing what I do. Like there's certain things I just can't do. I can't do mystery boxes. It's not realistic. I can't do like gambly rip and ships. I can't get away with that. I can't do like premium rip and ships because like think about it. If I sell a shiny treasures packs for like $50 on or for $5 on my website, and I charge $6 on my rip and ship site, even though I deserve an extra dollar for my time and the card sleeves and the top loaders and blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't do that. So it depends on who you are. If you're an average YouTuber and, you start from the get-go doing mystery boxes or blah, 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 you can at least get away with it without like getting canceled, so to speak.
Yeah. Brett wants to know what kind of gaming chair you recommend. All I know is Brian's the one that recommended this awesome wall back here, so he's got good recommendations. So we'll ask him about the chair.
Yeah, so I bought this Secret Lab Titan chair on my own accord, and I got the leather one and like the most expensive package because at the time I was doing rip and ships, like I was sitting down for like 30 hours a week, and so spending $600 on a chair, while it sounds ridiculous, it was a good move because like your back is expensive, bro. Like getting your health, it's important. You got to be comfortable for 30 hours a week.
It's a $600 chair.
Yeah, good tax write-off. This one that you probably can't see on screen is an Ewin Racing gaming chair, and this was like $500. It's the Ewin Champion chair, the cloth version. It's the top of the line on there, and they sent me that for free, just kind of for a shout out in a video. And I think that the cloth is more comfortable, like as far as material goes, because like leather's kind of, I don't like leather really. I only bought this because it was easy to clean. I got dogs, and I was eating on stream and drinking and what. So the cloth I wouldn't recommend if you have like pets or if you like eat and drink at your desk, but it is objectively more comfortable. So probably the Ewin Racing chair just because they're a bit cheaper overall, but I love my Secret Lab. I think it's great.
Hold on, wait. I'm trying to follow this Pokey guy. All right, so I've been watching for 2 years selling. I'm transparent, unlike others.
I don't get what he's saying. Like, I watch my videos. I literally tell you my margins. I tell you exactly how I advertise. I teach you how to build a website identical to mine. How am I faking that? Am I being too nice? I don't. Guy's delusional.
I thought we could get to the bottom of this, but I think dude, I got the same thing happen to me. I think he's just here to hate on you. It is what it is.
Yeah, homie's
come on, Pokey, man. Like, dude, Brian's like he's one of the most authentic people in this hobby. I mean, I remember meeting you at where was it? KC Collecticon in person?
Hell yeah, KC was great.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know you've helped me a lot out, throughout the time I've been on YouTube and I've known you. I mean, I guess none of us will ever know if we're all telling the whole truth, but it's like, look, I'm transparent. You're transparent. Like if there's something we don't want to talk about, I'll just straight say, I don't really want to talk about it. I'm not going to lie and say like a fake answer, but like,
Yeah,
I
if
try to be
anything,
as
I hate on
transparent as I
myself
can.
most of the time. Like, am I not hating on myself enough, or am I hating on myself too much? I don't get it.
Nostalgia. Last time you called me hating was when I said Pokemon Go had dead liquidity. Okay, now that's a shot at me for sure.
Yeah, that's on you right there.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. I posted something about like people were having a tax conversation. I said, I actually got a refund this year. And someone said, yeah, because of all the Pokemon Go losses write-offs you had. I'll never live Pokemon Go down for some reason.
Oh my goodness.
Brian say what his top 5 favorite sets are. I stepped out. No, I don't think we talked about that. What
We
do you
did
have
not.
favorite sets? Do you even collect? Like where are you at with all this? Is it all just business at this point?
Mostly business. My favorite sets really get derived from my rip and ship days because I got to like see the cards and hold them and get excited with my audience. So a lot of my favorite sets kind of come from like my 2021 to early 2022 days when I was doing rip and ships full time. Like, I guess for favorite sets, I would say the ones that I had the most fun opening, which like Dream League and Remix Bout were a ton of fun opening. For whatever reason, those sets, people just got really stoked about the CHR cards. So like those were super fun. VMAX Climax was a blast to open. We sold so many boxes because there was like it was a high class set, and it was I think it came before Shiny Treasures or Shiny Star V, right? It was VMAX Climax Shiny Star V.
You're not
I might
asking
be
me.
wrong.
I know you're not asking me.
VMAX Climax was a super fun set, a high class set. I think it was the first like affordable high class set, just like Shiny Treasures is now. For whatever reason, the years I was ripping shipping, Climax was super cheap. So we had a blast doing that one. So that's up there on my favorite list. I would say like from being a kid, I liked the jungle set mostly because of like the pack art, which sounds silly, but like I was a little kid, so like that's very nostalgic to me. And what else? I did enjoy V-Star Universe, but that's kind of a given because that's a high class set too.
Yeah.
What else did I have a lot of fun opening? We opened I liked this is going to be an odd one, but I really liked Fairy Rise, which was a super little teeny tiny set in Japan. There was probably like 70 cards in the set. There was just some cool like character rares, and it was all like you know dedicated around the fairy types, which aren't a thing anymore, obviously.
What was it like? What was the English equivalent?
I
Do you remember?
No, at the time I didn't sell English, so I never really
Gotcha.
paid attention.
When was
But
this back in like 2019, 2020?
let's see, Fairy Rise. Okay, so it was a Sun and Moon expansion. It's a pink box. It's got like the Mimikyu and the Xerneas, and I like the box art. I liked everything about it.
Gotcha.
And it was just a fun one because it was again super cheap and it had some really cool art. It had the Alolan Ninetales. People had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah.
And I will say too, if we're talking about box art, Champions Road has the best box art out of every Pokemon set. Period.
Ever. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that Japanese one, not
Now we
Champions.
got the hot takes. Perfect.
What's the English one?
Champion's Path.
Champions Path is the English one. Champions Road, very very different.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, Champions Road. It's so sexy and simple. It's got the Scizor on the front. It's like white backdrop. That's my favorite box art. So,
You still have any, or you get rid of all of them?
I have one.
Got one.
All
right, so you're a collector. All right, we got a collector in you.
A little bit. Kendrick Lamar said it best. You know, I don't smoke crack. I just sell it. And it's my favorite rap line because it's like, as soon as you start like doing the sauce, like you get lost in it.
That is one of the hardest lines to walk in this hobby. And like, you know, I saw earlier in the chat, like when we first started talking, people were saying stuff like that. Like some people just like this stuff and it's not about the money or the business or investor bros or whatever. It's like, yeah, I get that. But man, if you don't separate yourself and make it more about the business or the investing, like you'll get lost and you'll kill. I mean, you'll crush everything you had.
100%. And that kind of goes back to the transparency thing. I'm like, what I'm saying, if anything, it's hurting my brand. Like, oh, Brian doesn't really collect. Like, I don't. I don't know how much more transparent you want it. I'm in it for the business for the most part, and I love what I say is I love the content. I love the rip and ships at first. That was fun. And now I love the content part of it. That's fun. But selling the stuff, it's boring.
I mean, dude,
Not a
here's
fun
the thing,
job.
like, dude, it's like me and you both, like now that you're doing YouTube a lot more often, it's like we're both live so much. You can only, I mean, eventually the truth comes out. Eventually, the real you comes out. Your personality comes out. Like as much time as we've been live on YouTube, like you can't fake something or fake transparency that long. I mean, then I've been to multiple collect cons. I'll be at more this year. Like you guys can meet me in person. Like pretty much the same as I am on camera. Like it's you can't fake stuff for that long, right?
No, you can't. You'll get too tired.
Yeah, it's crazy. Kevin, I still have rip and ships if you're interested. every Thursday night on this channel, you can show up, and usually I try to bring like one big box, whether it be like XY Sun and Moon or something, and then usually have a lot of Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet product if you ever want to come to one of those. But
Kevin's a real one. What's up, Kevin? He was one of the OGs.
He's one of the OGs.
He's been there from the get-go.
Awesome. Yeah, I love when you have people like that. RCP Collector says, with Wix and Square looking for distro paperwork now, are there any other website builders that you can use that isn't asking for paperwork? I know you made a video about that. I don't know as much about it as you do.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So I made that video in an abundance of caution because I've been shouting out Wix and Square for years now, and
I'm on Wix with you.
Yeah, so and I don't make money on them. I don't have an affiliate link or nothing. So like, again, transparently, I've just been shouting them out because I dig them. And so out of an abundance of caution, as soon as I heard that some people were being shut down because they didn't have distributor receipts, I was like, yo, this is no longer safe. I would guess, off record, that most people that make a Pokemon card store on Wix or Square are probably going to be fine. It's just, I don't want to be the one that gets yelled at if you build a store, you make some sales, and then boom, they email you with the dreaded, if you don't have an invoice, we're canceling you. So out of an abundance of caution, I made that video. It is true, though. I've had a few people reach out that had a store on Wix for a year or even a brand new store. They reached out, they said, yo, we need an official invoice or you're done. And so it does happen. As far as other web builders, I don't know any. I would say WordPress probably has like the least, they're the most like laissez-faire, like it's kind of more open source. I don't know much about it, but Wix, Square, and Shopify, they're very like PR oriented in my head, and selling this stuff without a distributor license is not illegal. I mean, you can buy a cup and sell it for a profit. You can buy anything and sell it. So don't get it twisted. It's not illegal to sell this stuff on Wix or Square or Spotify or Shopify. What they're worried about is if you're selling fake Pokemon stuff and the Pokemon company sees, oh, Brian's selling fake stuff on a Shopify website, they're going to go after Shopify. So out of an abundance of caution, Shopify, Wix, and Square, now they're like, yo, if you're going to sell Pokemon, we got to make sure it's legit. So alternatives, I would say try WordPress or try to find your own. I can't vouch for any. So what I suggested to my people is, yo, if you want to make money, you can either risk it. Don't do Shopify because that's a for sure fail. Risk it on Wix or Square. Try WordPress if you're a little more techie. But ultimately, you're going to have to do like the big eBay, whatnot drip and find a way to make those margins work. And I have no idea how to do that. You know, I started at a different era.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had any issues with Wix, but then again, I don't really sell. I just sell box breaks, so I wouldn't know too much about it either. Hey, Kaiser said, I bought 10 Detective Pikachu returns promos from you. All got 10s. Look at that, man.
Damn, look at that.
Any shout outs for you.
Congrats for that. Yeah. Guaranteed PSA 10s on all my things.
That sounds like some real transparency there.
That's right. You'll get rich. Buy my stuff.
Oh, man. What's your time looking like, man? You got to wrap things up?
Oh, my boy Bryce is, you're keeping things pretty damn set over here. I got 2 thumbs up. No, we're Gucci.
All right. Let's see what we got going.
We got a lot of people. Do you always have 200 people? That's wild.
Dude, never. That's all you, bro. I told you, like, you're famous now. See, before, it's like before when he came on, Brian wasn't really messing with YouTube too much. You know, you posted some videos, but it's like I think you had maybe a couple thousand subscribers.
Yeah, we're tiny, teeny tiny.
And now coming back, man, you're just like, you're famous.
I will be. I gotta hit 100K before I make
I'm
that
lucky
claim.
I met you before. Like now I get to have celebrities on my show because of what happened.
I'll tell you what, I felt that way when I went to Collecticon last week in LA. That was nuts. Getting
Really?
like a little teeny tiny bit bigger on YouTube, it's wild. People really watch YouTube, like obviously, but it was more than I thought.
So you just had people come up to you the whole time?
Oh my god, I got 4 steps into the building and there were like 3 people like, yo, can I get a picture? I'm like, wow. Like that was flattering.
That's crazy.
It was not the whole time. I was like getting stopped and it was like, okay, this is cool. Like clearly what I'm doing is working. I'm hitting the right demographic, which is great. So it's very flattering on a personal level, but just from a business perspective, I'm like, oh, good. Whatever I'm doing, it's hitting the right demographic. So yeah, but dude, 204 watching right now. That's mad. I'd be crazy to end this stream early.
Dude, I mean, there was like 250 people in here. It was wild.
There was. I don't hit those numbers on live streams. Like I'm lucky to get like 70 or 80, and I'm stoked about that. Like that's nuts.
It sounds nice at ClutchCon. When I walk in, I get like slurs and like tomatoes thrown at me.
Well, I probably do too, just on the DL. Like, oh god, there's that evil capitalist again.
Your average player said, "Yeah, once I made Pokemon my full-time job, I really lost the love of collecting. At this point, it just makes sense. It just doesn't make sense holding items." Yeah, I think a lot of people get to that point, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't even like lose the love. Like I don't want it to be twisted. Like I don't buy anything for myself at all. So I don't have any hobbies that cost me money. So like Pokemon's just another one.
Even though you're sleeping on the live streams, you know, I appreciate you being here and keeping the numbers up. I appreciate it.
Facts.
Oh jeez. We're all just here for Evolving Skies. All right, guys, Evolving Skies to the moon. All of us. Everyone go buy a box, okay? Just go buy a box. We'll buy out the market. Let's manipulate it like, you know, everyone says.
This is how they do it. They get on live streams with 200 people and they send everyone to TCG Player. Where are the people that are going to do it now, guys? Go to TCG Player right now. Buy as many as you can afford. I'll throw down 100 grand. We'll take over the market.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, okay, it could happen. I mean, to act like it couldn't happen, like for people like me and you know, man, if you had like, you know, the whole crew, the PokeRev and Pokeball and Cool Trainer Ryan, their whole, if they all started like pumping things on their channels all simultaneously, yeah, they could manipulate the market pretty easily.
It's absolutely physically possible. I don't think it's happening, but it very well could.
Yeah, if they wanted to, like if they really wanted to push a card or a product and really talk it up and make it like it's the best investment ever, it would 100% happen because there's just, I talk about it all the time, contrary to popular belief, this product isn't endless. Like it does run out. So you said with Temporal Forces, you didn't get like allocated down or anything from your distributor.
No, people be tripping, man. Like every set, if you go back on YouTube, every goddamn set, they're like, oh, it's short printed. I'm like, what do you even? Who's getting that information? Like 99% of the people saying that, they're these small fries that probably are just YouTubers and don't even have a distributor. The folks that have a distributor are not doing as much business as I am. And the people doing more business than me don't have a YouTube channel. So I don't know who is making these videos, but at least for me, when I ordered, let's see, I went a little lower in the paint, I went lower on my thing. So I ordered like 450 from Southern and I ordered 100 from Peach State. And like, I didn't get cut any more than I usually do. Nothing changed. There's nothing different. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm naive, but like I don't see a difference.
Yeah, I mean everything I've heard, like I mean, you know, I mean I get my product, like I haven't heard anything like being less. I mean, I was able to get what I wanted. I don't know. It's strange, dude. Like I don't know where the rumors start, and I don't know how they get perpetrated. I don't know if like someone just says it and everyone just kind of picks it up with no proof. It's just wild how things move in this community, isn't it?
I think that's it. I think someone sort of kind of relevant says it, like maybe someone at my channel a few years, like 2,000 subs, and then someone else picks it up and then it just kind of dominoes. I have no idea. I think everyone be tripping, honestly.
Yeah, but it's kind of what happens. What does it say? Japan has had 2 consecutive quarters turn negative. Boxes aren't selling anymore for MSRP. I don't know.
I mean, they're they've been in a recession or damn near close to one, and that's why a lot of the stuff I'm getting super cheap, because the folks in Japan, that everything's dropping. And I think one thing I did get wrong, and I'm gonna admit it, and I hope someone clips this. Something I got very wrong about the Japanese market is I always said, like, oh, shiny treasures, I can buy for say $30. That's the floor. It ain't gonna get lower than that because $30 is Japanese MSRP. Well, what I was wrong about is in the US, MSRP is arbitrary. Nothing sells for MSRP in the US. The US MSRP is 160. They're selling it for like 100. So why can't Japan's MSRP be 30 and selling them for 10? Right? I mean, it makes sense. So do I think that these are going to go way lower than MSRP? No. But I did have kind of a misconception that, like, oh, the floor is the MSRP of Japan. It's not. The floor is $20 probably.
I mean, I know you did kind of call this last year, though. I remember, like, you made that prediction video, and you kind of said that 2024 was going to be a little slower and things like that. I mean,
yeah, I made that video. I nailed it.
Commented on it.
Like, honestly, like, to absolutely stroke my own back, I crushed that video. I said MetaZoo would end. It ended 3 weeks later.
That was crazy.
3 weeks. It took 3 weeks for that sucker to end completely.
How in the world did you call that?
Because I listen. I look around and I listen. It's like, Gary Vaynerchuk says, he's not a sidekick. He just listens and just regurgitates what he sees. And you just got to know who to listen to. You don't listen to the people saying temporal forces is underprinted. You listen to the people that are actually in it. And I did say that sales would go down. And my God, sales have plummeted. Like, I went from 350K a month in revenue to 225 overnight. Again, we're not in a holiday season. I'll acknowledge that. But, I mean, and then, I said a lot of these Poketubers are going to vanish, and there's been a few that have, and a few that are going to. And I stand by what I said about everything else in that video. I think it's spot on. End of 2024, I'll make a review.
Are Poketubers vanishing? I haven't been paying much attention.
There's a few really small ones who I kind of helped influence get started. And like you said, 90% of people don't have over 10,000 subs. So it's not like necessarily, yeah, I mean, you're one of them. You'll get there probably extremely quickly. So I'm going to include you in that 10%. But so a lot of these folks are like, oh, well, PokeRev and Leonhardt. I'm like, yeah, well, no duh, they're still around. They're in the top 1%. What I was talking about when I said most YouTubers are going to go away, it's the smaller guys. I mean, even freaking Seismic Shock TV, who was quite large, he deleted his whole channel.
What?
Yeah, he deleted it months ago.
I didn't know that.
At least a month or two ago. And then there's all these other YouTube. I mean, Card. I brought up the whatever company, Clutch Cards. They were a huge YouTube. They had a huge IG and YouTube following. They were a major store, probably my size. They vanished. And
did you know Seismic Shock at all?
Yeah, he had an affiliate link with us, and we chat still here and there.
What was the deal? Why do you quit it?
He just got out of it. There's no money in it anymore, which is cool. Like, he's doing other stuff now. He's got a solar roofing company. He does a lot of more like general business marketing content, and I assume it's working well for him. I don't know.
Oh, he's got a different channel now.
Yeah, he does other stuff now, which he kind of started towards the tail end of Pokemon. And and then you've got like a Possum Bud, whose YouTube channel seems to be doing quite well. But if you watch his previous couple videos, he's kind of switched things up because he sees that, this isn't working as well as it used to. I'm gonna do this. And then you've got Leonhardt barely posts anymore. He posts like once a month maybe.
Yeah, and I have no idea how Rare Candy's doing, but I'm guessing like that's kind of where he's
focusing on that, and I'm sure he's making a lot of money on it. But you've got a lot of channels that used to post daily, and now they're like every week or every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And here's a hot take for you that I guarantee you. Oh, a PokeNav was another one. PokeNav was awesome.
Yeah, he's been popping back up. I know he started a distro program.
Yeah, he kind of comes and goes. Awesome guy as well. I was on his channel. Nothing but nice things to say about him.
You were on his channel?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Wow.
a year and a half ago or something. He was pretty big at the time, but he's one that like I consider him pretty much done. Like he's not a YouTuber by any means. He makes a video every like 6 months, and yeah, I mean I think that's spot on, and I think even some of the people that are still around right now doing quite well, they're gonna fall off. Not because they suck, but because they lose interest because there's less money in it. There's no money in Pokemon YouTube as far as like cost per click. That's why I do mostly business content because my RPM is way higher than most of these Poketubers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you definitely like. I mean, I think I said it in one of the videos. I'm just like, unless you're like you and you're just like a workaholic, like I don't know how you get so much content. Sometimes you'll post like 3 videos a day.
Yeah, that's when I'm manic. I'll just sit in the basement for like 14 hours straight doing videos, and then you'll see that I'll go into like the downside and I won't post for like a week or so. But that's why I do scheduling videos now, so I look like I'm always busy. But in reality, I'm not. I
mean, it's not easy. Like it's not easy to continuously make content because I mean, I get called out for it a lot by like my subscribers or my viewers. Is like, Alex, you're rehashing content, or you're repeating yourself, or like it's hard. It's hard to continuously make fresh content, especially if you're making multiple videos a week. I mean, there's only so much news that comes out, and it's like everyone's covering the news, so you almost like you don't want to feel like you're copying. You want to have your own spin. It's like it's hard to create constant content and keep it fresh.
I think you and Mystic 7 are probably the 2 most impressive YouTubers in the space right now. As far as content.
Mystic 7, I'll give you that, but
no, definitely both of you. As far as content churn goes, I mean, it is absolutely bananas how much content you put out along with how many live streams you do. I mean, it's nearly every day, and if it's not every day, you're at least live streaming most days. And Mystic, he's on a different level. I mean, he's got a whole team. I met him at Collecticon. He's been wanting to meet me for quite some time, and I've been wanting to meet him since the Pokemon Go days. And the amount of content he posts on like 3 channels, it's absolutely bananas. I don't care if he has a team or not. So I see you and I see him pumping out content, and I'm like, oh god, I'm way behind. And as far as
that's what I feel. That's so weird you saying that.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. You and him and a few others.
Like what I'm saying is, I look at you and like other people. I'm like, man, they're pumping it. Like I need to get my ass in gear type thing. Like,
I mean, I guess real recognizes real, as they say. But yeah, we've been going hard, and I think I need to go harder. But I see BB's comments. No, Seismic doesn't have his channel anymore. It's gone.
That's so wild to me. Like he was relatively large. I mean, he wasn't like 100K though, was he? He was like what, 50, 60, 70K or something?
Yeah, he was like 70 or so K. That's one of the subscriber counts that I don't consider real because a lot of it came from like a few viral shorts, and the viewership was like impressive for sure, but not where it should be. Like Danny Phantom's an example of someone that has like, to me, all real subscribers because he has consistent viewership, as do I and you, but we're not big YouTubers, so it's one or the other. If you have 100,000 subs, you can kind of tell where they came from, and so his channel operated more as like a 40,000 sub channel or less even. But I mean, he made great content. No taking that away from him. His quality was insane.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk about like the whole Gary V type method with the content. Like, do you think that's still a good way to grow, or do you think it's overload? What do you think about like posting 5-7 videos a day? Running the kind of the news feeds to where every time someone clicks on a social media app, they see you. Like, do you think that's still a good thing, or do you think it's over? Do you think it's still good?
Oh yeah, because. And I talked to a guy named Phoenix Resale. He's really
guys. If you guys didn't see that, I can even like link the video afterwards. If you guys don't know Phoenix Resale, he's a huge YouTuber.
Major.
Came to your house, interviewed you, just had a candid conversation about everything. That was a great video.
Yeah, it was like a 45-minute video, and he told me something that really changed the trajectory of my channel. He's a lot of the reason why I got successful. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, how can you post too much on YouTube? And he said, YouTube is so big and there are so many millions of hours uploaded per day that even within a teeny tiny niche like Pokemon, the chances of one person even seeing more than one of your videos in a week are slim to none. If you're a subscriber with the notification bell on, you're going to see most of the uploads. But if you're a subscriber, and we all use YouTube, you don't see most of your people you subscribe to, you don't even see on your homepage. It's based on your interests. And even within your interests, there are Pokemon YouTubers who have 100,000 subscribers or more that I've never heard of. And they're like, oh, don't you know, like Pokevault? The guy's absolutely massive, right? Huge name in the sphere. I never heard of him until like a couple months ago. And he's
I didn't know about him until like Cool Trainer Ryan and PokeRev started doing content with him.
Yeah. Like I had no idea who even Cool Trainer Ryan. I've heard the name thrown
Well,
out.
actually, I think that back is a lie. Back when I used to watch PK before, he had him on before, I think, on one of those like streams.
Yeah, there's just so many. So like the chances of one person seeing more than 2 of your videos, even in a few days, it's slim to none. So the more you put out, you're just gathering more people. And it worked. I mean, when we were on TikTok growing initially, I threw out 12 videos a day. And nobody got mad. Nobody was like, shut up, dude, you're saying the same thing over and over again. No.
12 videos a day on TikTok?
Yeah, that's how we got big. And we did that for weeks, months.
And now back then, that was before like these AI tools, right? Like you were making those yourself, right?
I was making 12 videos a day on TikTok.
You weren't like cutting up a live stream with like, Opus.
No, I wasn't fancy at all. No, I made 12 a day, and I didn't even have the fanciness of scheduling them. I set a calendar, or I set an alarm on my phone every 2 hours, and every 2 hours, no matter what I was doing, I dropped it, I made a video, I put it out, and I did that 12 times a day for probably a few months. And if you watch those videos, a lot of them I archived, but if you watch the videos I did not archive, you can tell I look rough, extremely rough.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people popping up. Like I know someone just mentioned PokeOz. Like PokeOz popped up out of nowhere and like over 10K subs. It's like the space just getting so wide at this point, and so many creators are just popping up out of nowhere. And it's like you never heard of them before, then all of a sudden, wow, they're 5-10K subs, like nothing.
I never heard of him. I'm sure he's great. Never heard of him in my life.
It's crazy, man. Hold on, I gotta do some house cleaning here. It's getting too much.
I was gonna say there's probably a lot of comments to catch up on it.
Yeah, some comments. We are getting some real ones. We're calling some real ones, so at least we're not having that fake transparency from everybody.
Thanks for the love, y'all. Wow, 74 thumbs up with no thumbs down. That's nutty. This is a good
Wait,
channel,
you can see thumbs down again?
Yeah, well, it's a Google Chrome plugin. Yeah, highly recommend.
So now you can see how many people are hating. I like it.
Exactly. So it's called the Chrome plugin is called Return YouTube Dislike.
This is more for me or anyone else that creates content. But what do you use to edit your videos, man?
So
you have videos that you put some good editing in.
Some of them I do. I've learned that some of the really poorly edited ones are just as good. So I haven't focused too much on that. Yeah. But sometimes I step it up, and I use CapCut on the iPhone. And so I do like all my good videos you've seen, like even the one with like 500,000 or 250,000 subs or views. That was all on the iPhone. I didn't do anything with the computer at all. I filmed it on the phone. I did CapCut, and then I uploaded on YouTube. None of my videos that are good, I ever touched a computer.
How do you think that happened, by the way?
The 250,000 one?
250K. Like, did you do anything different?
That was my first video of its kind, where I did kind of a B-roll type thing, and I talked over it. And I think it worked really well because it was my first like super long video, which YouTube seems to, they seem to promote longer videos. They like those better right now, it seems like. And then number two, it was very story driven, which is huge because a lot of me and your content, it's not story driven at all. It's very like factual Q&A or like the state of the market. So that was a story driven piece of content that was super long. It had a lot of cuts. If you watch the video, I tried to do a cut every 6 seconds, which is what Mr. Beast does, which sounds insane. But if you watch a Mr. Beast video, you can count a new camera angle every 5 seconds. Now you hear that and you go, ain't no way. That would be disjointed as hell. But that's what he does. Watch any video, he cuts every 5 seconds.
That is wild. So you put some time into that one.
I did. That took hours because you have to cut. And hey, sweetheart, come here.
I mean, it worked.
So a cut can be as simple as slicing a clip and then just zooming in a little bit and then unslicing it. So it's just like you've seen those videos.
Yeah.
So, but any sort of, because everyone has like ADHD is a word that gets thrown around way too often, but there's not a better word for it. Like content ADHD, where they need a new thing fed to them every 5 seconds. So that was huge. And then I took a lot of inspiration from one of my favorite YouTube channels of all time, XXL Scrunchy Co. It's some girl, some Asian girl with a nice little family, and she started making scrunchies in her living room. And then grandma started helping, and mom and dad started helping. And then she moved from a living room to a bedroom to a small little crappy warehouse to a bigger warehouse to a massive warehouse with like 20 employees. And her videos are all like that. They just have B-roll and her talking over it. She's a legend. I love her.
Interesting, man. Hey, Pokemon Department Store, we'll give you a shout out, man. Do you think there's room for a Pokemon craft store on YouTube? I think there's room for yours, dude. If you guys want any custom crafts or woodwork or pins, Pokemon Department Store sent me all kinds of stuff, like pictures of him making stuff. So reach out to him on I guess Instagram. Is that good? If you guys want anything like that made. But yeah, man, always room for more Pokemon stuff. Agreed,
100%.
Yeah, that's interesting though about the B-roll. Like I definitely, I mean, you know how it goes. It's like the sad truth, but it's just like, you know, you almost get put in a box by YouTube, you know, where it's like, you know, you're making a certain type of content. You try to go off that script, and you know, the views, the clicks go way down. And so you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Let me go back and put Pokemon investment, and boom, it does well again. You're like, okay, that's where I need to stay. And you know, it almost it makes you scared to like try those different things because you're afraid of how it's going to affect your channel. And then if you start getting lower views on a few videos, it's going to stop recommending it. And it's a weird game we play with this platform.
And I think that's the benefit of being small. Like at 2,000 subs, I was super small. Now I'm still small. But when you only have 2,000 subs or less, it's like you're nobody anyway. You might as well try something new because who cares? So even me, I mean, at 16,000, yeah, I got some followers, great. But like, I could try something new, and like, what am I risking? What's the downside? A little bit of embarrassment? Like, who cares? So yeah, tomorrow I might do a video where I can do a video completely different than anything I've ever made, and it might flop. It might get 250,000 views again. Who the hell knows?
I mean, yeah, it's like it does seem like it. It seems like putting forth that effort though of the cuts and putting all that, you know, editing and stuff. I mean, it seems worth it. If it did that well for you, I mean, that's worth more than making 10 regular videos. If putting in a few hours of work is gonna, you know, get you something like that.
Yeah, but then other videos I put in an equal amount of work as far as hours go, and they got like 1,000 views. So it's kind of a risk as far as time goes. It's like I felt like I did the same exact thing, and some of them flopped. And then some videos I do a freaking camera with my crappy ass background where I just rant about something, and those videos get 8,000 views, and I'm like, there's so much to it that I don't think anyone can actually know for sure.
So I mean, take YouTube and take all your extras out of your life, right? What do you think you'd be spending like hours a week just running your multi-million-dollar Pokemon resale business?
Yeah, I mean, it really you can really see a correlation with how many hours I choose to spend. Like some weeks I spend like maybe 40 hours a week, and you can tell that sales dip. It's instant, and that means I didn't make as much like content as far as like marketing the channel, and it means I didn't make as many email campaigns. It means I didn't adjust the website. I didn't like make new promo codes. I didn't
So is a lot of your business based on your content?
Not so much. I mean, like, 'cause I just got big on YouTube a few months ago, and we were doing 300K a month without YouTube. It's a lot of it is like it's the little things that really add up. Like an email campaign that might get me only $3,000 in revenue, but then those people tell their friends, and then boom, that's another who knows how much in revenue. There's a lot of like ROI positive things that you're not able to calculate. Just how often I set up a promotion or like an IG post saying, hey, maybe like, so this would be content, maybe like the new Temporal Forces set. I did a pretty bad job posting as each card was revealed. Some sets, I post every single leak, and it builds hype, and then people come, and it leads to more sales. So on a week where I'm feeling kind of lazy, 35 hours a week. On a week where I'm feeling super ambitious, closer to 120. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'll be down here for like 14 hours a day.
Wow, I thought you were gonna say like barely any.
It just depends. I mean, like, if I'm feeling ambitious, and a lot of it too, it depends on how busy my wife is. Like, if she's got a lot going on at school, she's a teacher, and I don't feel so bad ignoring her, I'll come down here and work literally all day, and I'll sleep on the floor and work all night. And then, like, if my friends are busy, I'll try to work, 15 hours a day. But I've given myself the option to, like, only work 30 hours a week, 35 hours a week, if I need it. So, all in all, my hourly wage, like, probably isn't very impressive, though.
Well, yeah.
Like,
That's how it always is
probably.
for business owners.
Yeah.
If you do Pokemon full time as a sole proprietor, you should probably make some form of content, either Instagram, YouTube, because promotional material is really important on building a business. Yeah, absolutely.
It is, unless you get big enough where you can start advertising. So at the beginning, content was king, and it was super necessary, and now it is still extremely helpful. But the beauty is, once you have enough money to dedicate to paid ads, it's almost like passive. Like, we'll spend
Where
$5,000
are
a
you
month.
advertising?
Facebook and IG, and a little bit of Google, Google like search keywords, but not a whole lot. Like, we do like $1,000 a month on Google, and closer to like 5,000 a month on IG and Facebook, and that brings in quite a lot of money. We'll have like a 1,000% ROAS, which sounds super impressive because, quite frankly, it's extremely impressive. But with the margins, it's not as much as you'd think at all. Like, if we'll put $5,000 down and on ads a month, we might generate $30,000 of revenue, which sounds like, oh man, you're rich. But that $30,000 of revenue is only, say, $5,000 of profit. So you're almost kind of breaking even. That's just an example. But you don't profit a ton on ads, but you should absolutely be profiting on ads, or you're doing something wrong. Even if you're breaking even, though, it's like you're still getting new customers, and the lifetime value of a customer is a lot higher than just.
What are your? You're good. What are your ads like? Are they video? Are they just like still frame? Are they just like like a product with what deals? Is it like you, or what is it?
Extremely simple. And going back to that transparency thing, I actually show my exact ad on one of my videos, and all it is literally through the Wix back end. Wix partnered with Facebook and IG so that you can take your exact items from the platform, and they handle like all the behind the scenes ads. Like, they do all the analytical BS that I'm not smart enough to do. And so my whole thing is a carousel of 18 of the best products. I do like, I think it's like 10 of the best sellers, and then I do the newest, like the 4 newest English products and the 4 newest Japanese products, and it comes to about 18 products in the carousel. I have a paragraph that says, new sets available at PokeNE.com, the best place to buy Pokemon cards. I have a list of the newest sets and like little, bullet points, and then I have, read our reviews here, because Pokemon's sketchy and you need to be able to trust your people. So I have a link to my reviews on Google and Facebook, and that's it. And that's my ad. And occasionally I'll boost a post. Like, I'll make my little ad on Canva, a little 1,000 by 1,000 canvas pixelated picture. I'll throw my newest products on. I'll throw some prices on. If it gets good organic traffic, which you always want to do first, you never, ever make a post and boost it. Ever. That's stupid, because the algorithm doesn't know what to do with it. And for your first 50% of money you spend, the algorithm's trying to figure out who it's for. What you do is you make a post, you see how organic traffic treats it. If you get more than 100 likes on the post within 24 hours, then organically IG knows where to send it. At that point, you throw $100 on it, boost it, and then it already knows where to put it. And so if I get a good IG post of 100 likes or more within 24 hours, I boost that. I put $100 on it for 6 days. And I'll do that once in a while. It just depends. Same with videos.
Gotcha. Same with you mean like for ad
if I do
video.
like a reel. If I do like
have you advertised your like YouTube or anything?
No, No, YouTube ad spend is way too expensive.
Yeah, I've
And
never.
nobody's here to buy things. Like YouTube, you go for entertainment. IG and Facebook, you're a lot more apt to pull the trigger just because they have like integrated stores.
You
It's
didn't want to
still
make like a here in my
entertainment.
garage video?
If I was getting that kind of margin that Ty Lopez got, which was essentially infinite percent since he made one course, and like hell yeah, I'd be advertising on YouTube. But the cost per view on an ad, I mean, it's extremely expensive.
Yeah, no, I'm
Extremely.
sure.
I mean, you're paying probably $7 for every 1,000 views, and that's on a Pokemon entertainment channel. I mean, if I come up on a PokeRev video, I'm not going to get very many sales on that because nobody's watching PokeRev to shop. They're watching them for entertainment. Half those
Yeah.
people are like little kids.
I have a question about like the payments. Like I haven't dealt with it yet. And like on like my breaks, it's the only thing I really sell on my website. Do you ever have any issues with like chargebacks or people trying to like do any type of credit card, PayPal scams, or like is that have been a big thing, or is that just a small percentage?
Yeah, at first we had a lot of that. There are options on like Wix and probably Shopify and Square too, where you can kind of tell the credit card processor to be more strict and look at it harder. So for example, billing and shipping addresses, if those match, there's a lot better of a chance that the person's legitimate. If they don't match, there's more of a risk. And granted, if you have a different shipping and billing address, a lot of times it means, oh, you moved to a new house, you forgot to convert it, right? We all move.
Right.
But I basically maximized the scrutiny, and all I did for that is I emailed Wix's customer service team and said, hey, I'm getting a lot of chargebacks. I want to maximize my security, even at the risk of reducing sales, because a lot of people will get declined and they'll have to use a different credit card, or they might just not be able to buy it all. But I did the math, and the offset is worth it. So if you're getting a lot of chargebacks, it's probably because your the payment processor, you don't have it on like full scrutiny mode. You've got it more passive, and there are options you can find if you dig hard enough. I would just suggest contacting the customer service team. They'll know what you mean. And like for example, if you do something on a website, it'll be like, "Are you a human?" Check the box. That's not a default on a lot of payment processors. You have to like toggle that on,
Right.
and that again will help you with scams. Also, just being able to identify red flags. So what I used to do was just, if there was some, like someone, for example, you'll see a lot of folks that do a chargeback, they'll buy like 5 orders in a row all within the same minute because they're kind of testing the limits of the credit card they stole. So naive Brian would get like 5 transactions of $500 a piece in a row, and I'd be like, oh man, I'm big ballin', and I'd shipping them all out. Well, it turns out that was just the limit for the credit card, and the scammer was just using it over and over again, and then boom, I'm out, $3,000 or whatever, which has happened. I mean, I lost probably $20,000 of credit card chargebacks over the 3 years. 1 year it was $10,000 alone. And once you identify that, when you get more than 2 transactions in a row within the same minute from the same person, unless they email you and explain, hey, just realized you had this on the homepage, totally missed it, can you combine my orders? That's probably legitimate when they ask to combine their orders because they want to save on shipping. When you have someone, even in one day, buy more than 2 or 3 orders and they don't ask to combine shipping, they're probably a scammer because they don't care about the $10 wasted on shipping. So I just cancel all those orders now. If I see anything that looks like it might be going to a global shipping service, like sometimes you'll see addresses like, Samir Khan, and it's like an address and then hashtag 374BA2 -H1723, like something that doesn't belong in an address. That means it's going to a global shipping platform where Samir might live in somewhere in the Middle East, and he's probably a great guy. But a lot of folks that use those global shipping platforms, a lot of times they're scammers, and they'll do a chargeback after you. So now, sorry, Samir, but I cancel all those transactions because even though a lot of them are great people, a lot of them aren't, and it's not worth the risk because Samir will buy an ETB, and a bad guy will buy 5 cases, and so from Samir I'm making $10, and from the bad guy I'm losing $5,000. It doesn't make sense.
I think you touched on my point. It's like it's people being naive. It's like
Yeah,
people, because I always talk about how I haven't ever been scammed on eBay or TCG Player. People like always have all these stories about how they were. It's like, well, I take very like small amount of precautions, but I take some. Like, if I'm selling a big high end item, I'm not shipping it to a zero feedback person. Or if someone messages me and says, "Hey, my address is wrong. This is where it needs to go." Like, nah, I'm canceling your order. Change your address on eBay. Like, stuff like that. But recently, I did take a risk and it panned out. But someone bought my first edition Blastoise, my PSA 9 base set Blastoise.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
It was like a $4,250 transaction, and it was in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
eBay will not. You don't send it to the eBay verification process if they're in Puerto Rico. You send it straight to them. So I called eBay, and they're just like, "Yeah." eBay goes, "Yeah, we don't do it if it's in Puerto Rico. It's up to you if you want to cancel the transaction." I took a chance. I sent it. It worked out, but
very interesting.
There's just little things you can do to like give yourself a better opportunity not to get scammed. Whereas I think some people just like they'll see something way under market and they'll buy it, or they'll have a brand new account, buy like a huge item from them, and they'll just like send it like, "Oh, okay." Like, there's certain things you can do to make sure you don't get scammed, but sometimes you still do, like you said. I mean, it's just like some people are just smart with it.
Yeah, I mean, since doing all my strategies, it happens extremely rarely now, like maybe a couple thousand a year. So we're Gucci now. Give me 1 sec here.
No, you're good, man. How many UPCs is everyone holding? I got about 5 cases that I'm holding on to. The rest I've been opening for pack breaks for rip and ships. But I'm actually holding 5 cases. Like, my thought process on 151 is there's a good chance it's going to be reprinted, right? But in my thought process is there's a good chance the reprint will be ETBs and booster bundles and things like that. A lower chance it's going to be the UPCs. So even though the price per pack will drop and the availability of the items will be higher, I think the UPCs might hold a premium in the future just because of that. And, the promos may hold some value. So that's kind of my thought process of why I'm comfortable holding UPCs. But, that I could always be wrong. I mean, long run, guys, like 151 doing bad in the next 2, 3, 4 years, I think is low. But am I saying like stock up on 151 UPCs? It's like the next get rich quick scheme? No. And it's probably going to sit around a relatively range for a while. I just wanted to stock up when I could get them, really low, like around $80 a box. It just made sense. That's all that is. Like, that's the thing with me, guys. Like, not every play is going to be like, immediate flip or an immediate profit or trying to like have a good investment, gain in the next 6 months to a year. Like, some of them are just, well, I can get them really low right now. I don't see them going back to being that low. I can put them away and, in the next 2-3 years, I think they can double or, they can get 50%, whatever it may be. And I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not investing to get rich. I'm investing for my money to work for me while I'm not working type thing. I don't think 151's getting a reprint. Those are strong words, man. It's brand new. Like, look, I'm holding 5 cases of UPCs right now, and I'm still saying I think 151 could get reprinted with certain products. No reprints. I don't know. I don't know if I see that or not. Okay. What do you think about 151, man? I mean, we got to be seeing a reprint eventually, right?
I don't think it will, honestly.
Well, no, sorry, English.
Oh, English? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, Japanese probably not, you don't think?
No, probably not. I think they got too much going on. I don't think there's any motivation to do it. They've got Japan pumps out so many freaking sets. Like, I don't see a reason why they would. Yeah. There's too many other things to do. Like,
I mean, I just can't see them not like in here reprinting like the ETBs or booster bundles or some. It just seems like too new of a set.
Yeah, I think English, it's more likely. I mean, English releases a lot less sets because they basically just take 2 or 3 Japanese sets and meld them into one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot less releases per year. So I wouldn't be shocked if English reprinted, although I equally wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. But Japan, I'm saying like probably 90% sure, no. English, I'm saying like 60% yes, 40% no.
Yeah, the only thing I'm holding right now is the UPCs because I'm thinking, well, I don't see them reprinting those again. Like, I would see them go for the ETBs or bundles if they reprinted.
I think UPCs are done because my distro gave me like 2 pallets of them at a stupidly cheap price. And usually they don't do that until they're done, like with the Charizard UPC. Yeah, they gave it to me for like, I think it was like 6 or 7% lower than the original distro price, which is pretty huge. And that was a pallet worth. And then with the 151 UPC was 2 pallets worth. So at least Southern Hobby, which is the biggest, and then Peach State, or Southern Hobby is one of the biggest, and then Peach State, who's also huge. Those both gave me like a liquidated deal, and so they're out in my opinion, and the other ones I'm sure are similar.
So I mean, obviously we talked about like the Collecticon stuff earlier, but you don't have any ideas of like selling at live events or anything like that?
I sell at some like there's like little teeny tiny things I'll do in Omaha. Like there's like NebraskaCon, for example. And then I used to do Westroads Mall, which is about 30 minutes north of me.
Okay.
It's fun because I get to meet local people who like watch me, and it's more just for like interaction with the community, the fans, whatever. But as far as making money, I mean, you really don't. Even like my argument used to be it's a good way to market your brand, but if you observe the behavior at these conventions, most of the people are there because they're there to look around and have a good time, and then they buy stuff if they want it, or they're buying singles or slabs, and they're not really looking into a new brand. They're not really interested in it. Like, I don't think there's, in my opinion, I don't think there's a lot of people that be like, oh wow, PokeNE sold me that booster box at Collecticon, I'm going to go to his website. I think you just bought the booster box because you were at the convention.
That's a great point. Honestly, I'm guilty of that. Like, and it's not like I'm being like fake about it. Like, I think about when I'll take like their cards, or like I start conversations with people, and so like I feel like I have conversations with every booth I go to, and they'll give me their card, they'll tell me about their store, and like I fully intend to like, yeah, I'm gonna check you out. Like I'd love to just buy from you, you know, regularly or something. And it's like it just never happens. It's like I don't know. It doesn't. You don't. It doesn't go as far as you think it would. The transaction there. It's just you're getting the deal at the time of, and you forget about it the next day.
And my behavior is the same way, and that's how I make a lot of business decisions. Is like you said earlier, I look at my own behavior and I extrapolate from there. I find myself just like you. Sometimes I really like the person and I have a good talk with them, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna check out your. I don't buy product obviously, but like maybe they sell stickers or something, and I'm not fronting. I genuinely like, oh man, I'm gonna look into your site. I take the business card. It ends up in my suitcase, and it ends up staying in that suitcase until the next Collecticon when I'm packing. And I go, oh yeah, that was a year ago. And then it ends up in the trash. And if you think that's not most people, you're tripping. That's how it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're pretty much rolling. You know, a lot of people have like, you know, these like goals or these plans for the future. Like, do you have any of that at this point? Or are you just kind of just going to keep rolling and doing the best you can and kind of living the dream type thing? Or do you put like, do you have like a vision board or like these big goals you set out for yourself? Or is it just kind of just keep things rolling at this point?
I've gone back and forth on that whole thing. If you watch my Phoenix resale video, I basically say I'm good, I'm Gucci, just stay the course. Yeah, I'm still kind of there. At a certain point, you know, the whole money doesn't buy happiness thing, I think that's garbage until you have enough, and then at that point, it doesn't buy happiness. And that's I think a caveat that a lot of people fail to mention. Like, obviously, like, I truly believe if you need it, money absolutely freaking buys happiness. If you're finding yourself having trouble feeding your family, or if you're only being able to afford, like, freaking ramen, if you think money doesn't buy happiness, I think that's delusional. I really do. I think if you're not able to, like, have a good, healthy, home-cooked meal with, like, 3 balanced things on there, and if your kid wants to sign up for soccer, and you can't, like, those things money buy happiness. Once you have healthy food and lots of it, you can sign your kid up for cheerleading if they want to do it. You can send them to a nice school. You have a house that you can actually afford that doesn't have rats in it. Once you have all that, money doesn't do anything for you. And I'm there now where I have a nice house, I have nice dogs, my wife and I are happy. Like, getting more isn't going to do anything for me. And I've learned that the more I work on the business, the less time I have to play like Smash with the boys. And we play Super Smash 3 times a week now, and I'm happier than ever. So at this point,
freedom. It's freedom. It's almost like things. It's like it should be more like things don't buy happiness. Like after you have like you know, a good like you said, enough your freedom, you're doing what you like, you have like, you know, some nice things to live off of. It's like going out and getting multiple Lambos and like, you know, having a beach home and this and that. It's like it's not going to do as much for you because what's happened is you never really have time to use all that stuff, or the people that like you don't really have anyone to go enjoy that stuff with. Like eventually that gets bored. Like that's where it's at. Like be able to have your friends over and have a good time, you know, and be able to do something you don't hate and just have like the freedom to be able to work 30 hours this week and then more the next week. Like that's what it's about more than like, you know, oh man, I'm worth 20 million instead of 10 million now. Now I'm happier. It's like, no.
Yeah, that's not how it works. And it's like, and someone brought that up to me. I don't remember who it was, but they're like, well, why did you start selling Pokemon full time? And I'm like, oh, because I didn't like being bossed around by real estate. I don't like working on other people's schedule. And that was the whole reason, was freedom. And then I got super big and I got lost in the sauce. And I'm like, oh, sorry, boys, can't play Smash tonight. Gotta work. And I'm like, damn, I'm more of a slave to this than I was to real estate. And that's when it was a red flag. I'm like, all right. That being said, I am really glad I put in 2 years of grind time where I lost a bunch of weight. I ate horribly. I missed a lot of friend hangouts and family hangouts. I'm glad I did it for 2 years because now I can do whatever the hell I want. If my boys if my dogs want to go on a walk at 2 p.m., if all the girls in my group are teachers, including my wife, if they've got summer off and they want to go to the pool, I can do that whenever I want. So it was worth the L for 2 years. But as far as continuing that, F that. I don't need more sales. $350K a month is as many sales as I'll ever want. And if anything, I think I'm happier at like 275K sales. It's enough to pay for the nice house, put money in savings, and do whatever the hell I want. Yeah. I have no ambition of growing.
Yeah, I mean, and like, obviously, like capitalism is still the best system, I believe. Like, you know, it's not perfect, but it works the best. But it's like, that is one of the bad things. It's like, everyone feels like you have to grow. Like the stock market, it always has to grow or the stock's going to drop. Like, well, we're already doing, you know, 300 billion a year. It's like, nope, if you didn't grow, the stock's getting dropped there. It's like, you know, in the sales job I used to be in, it's like, you always got to beat your numbers. You always got to hit this, hit that. It's like, what if I'm making what I want to make? What if I just keep up my same number every month? Like, no, you need to beat it. You need to beat it, or you're falling. If you're not growing, you're dying. And all these
that's
crazy
a big
things
one.
we come up with. And it's like, it's to keep you in this rat wheel where no one's ever happy. And it's just like, at some point, like there's definitely the grind stage in the beginning, whether it be a job, a business, but it's like, eventually the goal is to get to some kind of normalcy where you can live an enjoyable life. And I feel like a lot of people just get caught in the money and the grind and the, you know, getting up that corporate ladder, that stairway to success, or growing their business bigger than this guy's and beating their last year's. It's like, at some point, it's not important, right?
110%. And I would argue, you know, because I'm holding myself back at this point. I could probably hit 500,000 in sales a month if I actually tried. I know I could. I'm holding myself back at some point. And another hot take, I think holding myself back, Brian, will actually make more money than going hard, Brian, because I could do this probably pretty happily for like 20 years. But going hard in the paint, Brian, I'm either going to end up dead or I'm going to end up depressed and just quit cold turkey. And so if you look at the final net when I'm 50 years old, I guarantee Brian, who's playing Smash with the boys on Mondays, I guarantee he has more money.
Exactly. It's so funny. Me and my wife are having this conversation about like movies, TV shows, like everything that's like perpetrated to us. It's so funny. Like if you watch like any movie, right, it'll be like a professional sports star or like, you know, someone who like has a bunch of money and they'll lose their position or like they'll lose their job. And it's like, they portray it like, oh, well, what's he going to, he has to go back to work in the kitchen, or he has to go back to this. Like, it's just like they immediately are broke. Like, it's just, but it's like, it's just to keep everyone in the system always working. It's like, wait, didn't that guy just sign a like $20 million signing bonus when he started? Like, just because he got kicked off the team in 3 years, he's set for life, right? It's like,
he's Gucci. He's making more than us.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do with his life? Wherever the hell he wants, he's got 20 million in the bank. What do you mean? But
it's like he was responsible with it.
Like, no, if you're not 65 or 70 years old, you need to be doing this, and this. You can't have any free time or work. It's like, it's so weird, man.
It's goofy. It's some goofy.
Or even retirees
nonsense.
now. It's like they're almost like everyone's like, well, what are you gonna do when you retire? Like, are you gonna get a job, a second? It's like, why would I retire after 40 years and get another job?
A lot of people do it, and a lot of that, number one, it's just a silly mindset. But some people, they do F themselves. You make 10 million a year, you spend 9.5 million a year, or you spend more than that, and then you do. It is like, oh god, what are they gonna do? And that's why me, you know, right now I'm not rich. I'd make good money, but it's not. There's no profit margins in this business, so I sell a lot. But like I said, it's not balling. But even so, I'm living like I'm making $15 an hour.
Well,
The
I think, like I
bougiest
said,
thing
I
we
mean,
buy is like HelloFresh.
yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean,
Like
you're able to do the things you want to do, though. It's like I think that's the biggest problem is like when people retire and they have to get another job is they've dedicated their entire life to their job and work. And so they don't know what to do with free time to where it's like you, it's like, well, you have hobbies, like you play whatever sports or you go out with your wife or you play Smash with your friends. Like you have hobbies that you do in your free time already. It's like some people, if they dedicate their entire life to work and they never got hobbies or don't have a lot of friends, and now all of a sudden they have all these hours in the day and they don't like or know how to do anything else and they have no one to hang out with. It's like, okay, it makes sense.
that's
That
a good
makes
point
sense.
too. Yeah, having free hobbies is really nice. Like it don't cost money to play pickleball.
Well, I
You
guess
know,
depends where, right?
at least here in Omaha, you know. But yeah, I didn't think about that. If you don't have the time or the experience having cheap or free hobbies, and you don't have friends, it's like yeah, I'm guessing you do probably need money to be happy at that point.
Dude, it opened my eyes. I was like in Discord one day, and I just made this because everyone was talking about like this type of discussion, and so I just made a comment. I said, okay, right now, if you could not work ever again right now and just do what you wanted to do every day, and I gave you $10 million and you could just invest it and make 800 grand a year on it, or if I said you have to work the next 40 years but you could have $100 million or $1 billion, like which one would you take? Dude, there were some people that said they would go for the 100 million or a billion. Like there's people out
Wow.
there that just don't value they don't value free time as much, or like work is more important to them. Like it I guess gives them more than like hobbies. It's like I'm like you. If someone said right now, like, hey, you can I'm gonna give you, whatever, 20 grand a month and you can just live and never work again, dude, I can find something to fill up my days, be fulfilled. I mean, enjoy every second of every day. It's like I got so many things I like to do in life, and I just don't have enough time to do them all.
Yeah, I know. I would definitely go with that option too. Now
Yeah,
that being said, business is extremely fulfilling for me, just not overdoing it. Like I would definitely start a new business, but I'd be chill about it for sure. I would not like I if I sold this business and I wouldn't get jack for it because I am the business, so I wouldn't get anything. If somehow magically I sold this business for a lot of money,
I actually disagree
I'd
with
be
that.
depressed. I'd be depressed.
I disagree with that.
I don't know. I think my business is damn near worthless.
No, dude, I think there's a value to having a distributor with allocations built up like that.
That's true. The distributor has value for sure. But like if you look at a job or a business that's like just has employees that do everything and they do my revenue, that business is worth a hell of a lot more than my impressive revenue. Because I'm the brand. I do it all. I mean, I have employees that work, a grand total of maybe 30 hours a week altogether. I'm the face of the company. My goofy attitude is what brings in more people. Take me away, and my company's like only worth the distributor and the inventory. But in some magical world, if I got like $10 million from selling this company, which I wouldn't get, I would be very depressed and I'd lose my identity if I didn't like replace it with something else. But I would allocate a lot more time to fun.
Have you thought about that with YouTube at all? Have you thought about trying to make the channel less dependent on you and more dependent on just like standalone? So I know
No.
other people have done that, not just necessarily in Pokemon, but I know that's a real discussion right now. People making it more like about like whatever subject it is, where they are not the integral part of it. Like they're still a main character, but it's like where it's all based around a certain subject or certain genre, a certain area, and they're not like integral to that channel surviving or channel to growing, and it can make it more. Have you thought about that at all or no?
No, because to me, I get why people do that. If they look at YouTube as a business, like a lot of people look at Pokemon like a fun thing. I look at Pokemon as a business. I look at YouTube as a fun thing. A lot of people look at YouTube as a business. I wouldn't see. I mean, I don't see the point of that. To me, YouTube, the whole point of it, like the funnest part is the making the content, editing the content, and then seeing the response to the content. If I took any of those away, even if I outsource my editing, it'd just be boring. I mean, the whole point is fun. Like but maybe that's because I'm never gonna get rich off YouTube. You know, at most, I think I could get maybe like ultimate long-term goal, $2,000 a month from YouTube would be rad.
Yeah.
There's why automate that? Like I can make $2,000 a month doing a plethora of other things that take way less time. This is fun.
Right.
Why give it away? But I get why people do it. I just have no interest.
Yeah.
What about you?
Me, I mean, I don't know how. Like, I don't know how to like make a like this channel like be not about me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think there's definitely other industries, like other channels, other ideas in Pokemon you could do to where it's not all about you. I mean, the biggest streamers on like Whatnot and stuff, like they're not even always streaming. It's like they always have different streamers and so like I know there's like a way to do it, but like for my specific channel and setup, no, I haven't thought about it. I don't think it's really possible for me. But
I don't think it is either because you don't have a YouTube channel. You have a personal brand, just like I do. People like you, they don't care about like if someone else was in that chair saying the same things, they wouldn't watch it. They like you.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's more. I mean, the faceless channels, those are obviously can do it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother beast. And like having one of those, I mean, yeah, sure, it'd be great passive income, I guess, but it wouldn't be fun.
Yeah,
this is fun. I mean, I've been talking to you for 2.5 hours. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, we got to wrap things up, don't we? Oh, Brian's in here. What's up, man? Love the money talk. Wealth gives you ability to make decisions the way you want instead of how finances dictate. That is true.
Facts.
That is true. No, man, I know you guys stuff to do. Guys, I appreciate every single one of you sticking with us this afternoon. This has been wild. Definitely my biggest live stream I ever had. I think you said the same thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's major.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Brian, any major announcements you want to tell everyone before we hop off? Anything you got going on?
Working on some cool stuff. I got a bunch of new like long form content coming. It takes a long time to make the stuff I'm currently making, but got some good stuff for like definitely the business side of it, like mostly pricing and this kind of like pseudo Japanese recession mode we're in. A lot of folks have been asking me, hey, what are you doing to price your inventory and stay afloat? Because right now things are really bad. And if I was in debt, I'd be very scared. So a lot of stuff on that. Because there's a lot of people we're going to see vanish from this weird market. So I'm going to do a lot of videos.
Are you moving things just kind of like at cost just to get cash flow right now? Or are you still making profit?
Some things, yes. A lot of stuff I kind of fire sold for only a few bucks extra in profit. But then I was able to repurchase that inventory at a way cheaper price. And in the end, selling everything for a small, teeny tiny loss, but then getting it all back and selling it for slightly under the market price will net me more. And that's just playing with numbers, like, you know, and knowing like, okay, if I adjust the price here, what is my churn going to be? And does that churn with the new price add up to more than if I was trying to maximize my dollar per box in the past? So basically teaching people how to do that using an Excel spreadsheet I built, and I will give all that away. Transparency, ooh. So that's going to be a really good video, I think. And there's a few other ones that are kind of quirky, but I need to get through Temporal Forces first, which is going to be hell week. We've got 2 pallets of it coming. I've got pre-orders back from January, so I have to fulfill all of those before Thursday. And it's just me and my part-time folks and maybe my wife, honestly.
Wow.
But after that, I'll have a lot of content coming out. I will probably be going to Card Party, so if you're going to Card Party in Orlando, I'll probably be there, as long as nothing like weird happens with a new release.
You gonna go to KC again?
I probably will. It's only a 3-hour drive. Like I'll go to KC.
For me, 3 hours, yeah.
As long as there's not a new release that day. I've decided I don't travel if there's like a new release that weekend, but I don't know. Things are just kind of going as is. I'm really trying to push YouTube. I do, like in a perfect world, I get YouTube to be a full-time job where I'm making like $5,000 a month. I think that seems a little bit unlikely just because I'm running a business too. And eventually we'll have a kid or two and then my time's going to be really spent.
Yeah.
But I'm really going to play with the YouTube game until I either get sick of it or I get rich off it. I'll probably get sick of it first, and that's okay.
Gotcha.
You know, it's been fun though. I'm gonna do it until I get sick of it. That's it. That's all the announcements I really have.
Well, guys, his link to his YouTube and store, top of the description. I'll go ahead and pin them to the comments too if anyone's watching this after. And yeah, maybe we'll do this again in the future.
10 more months, baby. See where we're at.
10 more months. Man, by then it's gonna be wild. All right, guys, we're gonna call it there. We're out.
Peace.